As I suspected, 32 flavors.
What?
Happy New Year, everybody. It is 2022 and the Mead Raid is here from Midnight's Edge After Dark. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Toxic Tuesday. Tonight we got a classic, bona fide classic for the ages here as we are talking the classic Goodfellas. And this is the 27th episode titled Forget About It. I mean, you should be able to get that. If you don't, I don't feel sorry for you. I just don't. But what's up? I see, before I bring in our guys here, see commenting is dangerous. Flash, Pope Metallicus, Darius Munchausen, The Angry Gamer, D. Bud Martin, Rob Altus, John Coppola, Naked Fame, D.S. Ford, Deleted Scenes, Iron Wolf. What's up, guys? Hey, what's up, Jace? Nice to see you here, my friend. Ella Gabulus. Commenting is dangerous. I think he said, but you're saying it again. And Nick, you're thinking, oh, no, I don't know about that. But hey, and then, of course, George the Giant Slayer. What's up, George? Dragon Master. Welcome, guys, to Toxic Tuesday. We're bringing our boys nice, hot, and fast for you. Just another red shirt returning to Toxic Tuesday. Hail, my friend, and welcome back. It's been a few.
Hail, and thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, especially to talk about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be fun. And by the way, if you don't know what forget about it means, just go watch the movie Donnie Brasco, because I'm sure that you're going to be talking about it soon.
Oh, all in due time. All in due time, red shirt. All in due time. Shell to RC from the NYC. What's up, buddy? I see you there. Welcome. All right. And of course, I bring in our the usual suspects. I see that 70s rock fan waiting. What's up, 70s? Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year to you. I'm doing great. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I missed you guys. It feels good to be doing this. Like we got the toxic ones back together.
It was terrible of you to miss a show just because you had a fast food overdose. I mean, come on. Where's your dedication? Overdosed on chicken burgers.
Well,
it's good to see you, buddy.
Guys, I just ate so much that the weight of the pizza was holding me down, and it got to my back. Sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
It's got to go somewhere, hasn't it?
Yes, it went straight to my back. All right, another guy here, Mr. Keto Simple Brutal Dustin. Welcome.
Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year to you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. You feeling better?
Feeling a lot better, dude. You know me, I'm the guy who's a nocturnal demon, and I sleep as less as possible. However, after I hurt my back, I slept so much, and I was endlessly on this back massaging thing. It was like a massage chair, but except it was just like a pad. It was just, for like freaking a whole day straight, and dude, I woke up like brand new. It was like I was like awakening from like some eternal slumber. So. Yeah, I feel great. I feel good. I'm going to make sure I don't mess this up again. So that's the goal. So good to have you back. Of course, I missed you, man. And I'm ready to get the show going. And I see a Persian scribe. What's up, Persian? I see you there. And now we're going to bring in our other Mr. Mark D with us. See.
Hey guys, great to have you. Great to be here. Yep.
We're all too excited.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did are you Mad Mardigan in drag or what?
You mean Mad Mardigan isn't a woman?
I thought
he's actually in drag. Oh God,
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Well, I've got my disguise going. Yeah. Well, Mad might show up tonight, right? Maybe. Yeah.
Oh, he will be here.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah. He's out in a Lincoln convertible somewhere right now,
a
just
pink
cruising
one.
the mean streets.
He bought a pink one with his winnings. Yep.
Yeah. Pink Cadillac somewhere, cruising those mean streets.
I see you, Godzillionaire. What's up? Welcome. So, guys, I guess I'm gonna start off my initial experience as per usual. My life and not just Goodfellas, but I guess you have to say Mafia movies goes back plenty of years back. I guess when you could say I was learning about more of the R-rated movies, the Mafia movies were some of the first introduced into my life, and it was one of the few that my dad let me see. I don't know if it was because of certain things not being shown on some of them, but I was very infatuated by the lifestyle. You had these guys in the nice suits. They had all these fancy drinks and the cigars, and they were out there making money. But obviously, they're doing some crazy killing at the same time. But they are always like, it's all about family, family, family. Yet here they are doing all these crazy things. Like, it was just like, wow, these guys are all like, they care about each other, but then at times they kind of get bipolar with each other and they go nuts on each other. So I would see movies like Goodfellas. I learned about obviously The Godfather, Hoffa, The Untouchables, just all these movies. I'm like, wow. Now, of course, I started learning like, hey, look, we used to actually deal with that hit way back when in the eras of the Al Capone and Frank Nitti of the world. And of course, me and friends in school, I'd show all my friends, like, guys, look at all these movies are really cool. Like, and also I'm afraid, everyone wants to start acting like they're like Italian, like swearing a million words a minute and doing the hand gestures and in this movie, but besides the quotes, but it kind of gets you on that that mafia mindset. Like, you want to be one of the wise guys. Like, hey, this guy's all right, as they say in the movie. So this movie has not just had a genuinely cinematic impact, but I guess you could say a cultural impact. The mafia movies are something that stuck with me for many years to come. It's something I will continue to go back to throughout time and time again. So 70s. You want to recall your first experience with the Goodfellas?
Oh, I was absolutely knocked out. It's still my favorite family movie to this day. I was a huge forget about it. I was a huge Martin Scorsese fan. Anyway, I'd seen a lot of his movies in the cinema up to that point, and I don't think he was particularly known for being this big mafia movie director. I mean, Mean Streets had a mob aspect to it, but you also had Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, King of Comedy afterwards. He'd done a variety of things, and The Last Waltz, because I'm a big fan of The Band, and he did that movie. So Goodfellas was, to me, the first big, full-on mob movie he'd really made, and made a big production one out of it. And absolutely stunning. I mean, could not believe how good this movie was when it came out of it, and some of this individual moments in it just leave you speechless. And there's full of life lessons. Everybody's got to take a beating sometime. And then was it never? I might have got this wrong. Never shit on your friends and keep your rat shut, or something like that. But all the names: Frankie the Wop, Johnny Roast Beef. Freddie the Nose. Like these names, it's so exotic as a Scotsman living in the little old UK. My God, this is exotic. Wouldn't you want to be these guys? You were saying that you would just.
That's what I felt.
The
I
times were
want to
good.
be these guys. You felt like you wanted to be one of them because you saw that high lifestyle. Like they're living the high life. They're living large. They're living big. They're going around taking 50s and 100s out of their pockets. They're going to all the places, renting them out privately, just like getting all the
seductive
things that.
Polly Walnuts there.
It's infectious. You want to live that lifestyle.
Yeah, you just, that's what Henry said. I've always wanted to be a mob guy, a made guy, a wise guy, whatever, Just so seductive. No, it still stands up today as a masterful piece of cinema.
Oh, yeah.
It is a brilliant movie by any standards of any genre, and just watching it again for this show, I've seen it a number of times. It was just reminds you just how good it was, and just how good the acting is. It's brilliant. What can you say? It's so good.
Yes. All right, and welcoming, of course, as well, Mr. Tom Connors, of Midnight's Edge, After Dark, Radio, and the 800 other things, and also on top of the 900 streams that he's on. Dude, thank you again for coming back and joining us. I can't wait to have your contributions as per usual.
This is one of my favorite films, of course. So glad to be here. It's my favorite Scorsese film, that's for sure. It's a great film, classic.
So why don't you tell us about I'm assuming you saw this right when it came out back in 90. Did you or did you not? What was your
I saw it when I was
story?
younger, but I didn't really it was one of those movies that when I first saw it was just a movie, right? And then it was one of those movies over time as it kept popping up on cable and here and there. It was one I constantly found myself watching over and over again. And then eventually it just kind of like dawned on me that I really liked a lot of Scorsese's films. So I ended up just visiting all his films. And this one, of course, just stuck out to me as the one above the rest, even though all of his films are amazing. And this has just become over time like a personal favorite of mine. I even have a poster of Goodfellas right in front of me right now, like to my left here, because it's one of my favorite films. So yeah.
Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Awesome. So, Mr. Redshirt, why don't you tell us about life with the Goodfellas?
Well, I saw this movie when it first came out in 1990. And at that time, the great Mafia movie, trilogy of movies, was The Godfather. And The Godfather is a much more stylized set of a stylized story. And it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's great. Maybe not Godfather 3. I don't know. Not going to go there. But this movie, given that, my grandparents lived on Long Island. I remember hearing about the Lufthansa heist as a kid. And then I see this movie and I get to watch how the Lufthansa heist gets set up, how it happened, what happened to people afterwards. That, more than anything else in this movie, grabbed my attention. And the fact that it's a true story, that almost basically everybody in this movie is either a real person or based on a real person. Tommy, by the way, played masterfully by Joe Pesci, is based on a mafia character whose name was different, but who is just as much of a psychopath as Tommy is. And
I think the real Henry Hill said the only real difference between the portrayal was that Joe Pesci is shorter. The real guy's much bigger.
Yeah, the real guy was about 6 feet tall and scared the shit out of everybody. But the thing that I thought was really cool about this, that it brings across really well, because Henry says it early in the film. One day, some kids from school walked my mother's groceries all the way home.
Oh,
you know
I love
why?
that line.
Because respect. Well, actually, but by that point in the movie, is a code word for fear. And if you haven't figured it out yet, Joe Pesci's character will teach you that. The Mafia.
Oh, wait,
Don't be late. Bring him a drink.
Yeah, when the Mafia said, we're all about respect, they didn't really mean that. They meant they were all about fear. This movie, you get to hear the people tell you. There you go.
Yeah, put a hold.
That's
hold.
it, Henry. No.
Yep.
Put a hold. This is the meme.
This is the meme. There it is. That's the meme.
I'll go back.
What happened?
I don't remember the Enterprise in Goodfellas.
I don't remember that. Yeah.
Trans porn. What is that?
Yeah.
I'm using a new program so I can
It's just
type
memes.
That's it.
Funny.
Which one do you want?
Like a clown?
Yeah. They're telling you what they think of themselves, but they're showing you what they are. And that's part of what makes the movie great, because as everybody keeps telling me, movies are supposed to be about show, don't tell. So in this movie, the Mafia characters tell you who they think they are, and the movie shows you who they are. And it's amazing. This
Yeah,
is
of
one of
course,
the
it
most
breaks the fourth wall to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Henry
Oh, it
talks-
does.
occasionally.
Henry
yes.
talks right to you. Yeah.
Yes.
No,
But
this
yeah.
scene. Okay, before I read this I remember
Okay.
when I first saw the scene back. I was, I think, maybe around 10, 11, and I remember thinking like I was actually kind of intimidated by the scene of the Pesci's reaction. It actually sold me he was going to legitimately do something to Leota, because I didn't know it was obviously going to be a big old laughing fest near the end. But I thought, oh my god, this guy's he's really mad that they're calling him the funny guy. Like, he sold me. Like, and even watching that scene now, I'm just like, dude, I still feel the chills from that scene. Like, it's funny to watch. It's funny, but it's also like he just sells you like that cold, like, he's just like, oh, you think he's funny?
You think he's psycho and he's going off his.
Yeah, you don't know if
right
he's
there.
joking. You don't know if he's like if he's actually like downright insane. Like, you can't figure it out. You're trying to figure out what's going on in this guy's head. But man, he sold me he was gonna do something right then and there.
And,
Funny thing
every,
is,
the other characters don't know what he's going to do.
Right?
Henry
And they all
Hill's
know
not the
him.
only one who's nervous.
Yeah,
the
they all
funny thing
know
is,
him
he
and
is-
they're nervous.
he is joking and he's a psycho, which is
Yes.
both.
That's
And everybody knows he's a psycho, so they're all going, "Oh shit, what's about to go down here?"
Yeah, even when they filmed it, they didn't know that that he was going to tell that story was going to go the way that it was going. So Scorsese wanted Leota to have a genuine reaction to that scene.
It's uncomfortable.
worked.
Yeah.
It
Well,
worked.
the thing about Pesci's character, which is he's the closest they get to the actual mob, but yet he's also their undoing, right? Like, that's kind of the whole,
Yep.
arc of his character and the beauty of it. And going off of what you were talking about with the fear thing, like, that's what I love about the last shot of the movie, which is just him shooting at the camera like that old Western footage of the gunslinger shooting at the camera, right? Like, it's just so poignant. And him just looking all decked out in his, his garb and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. To me, it just captures the whole essence of the film of what you were just saying with the whole, they rule.
Well, it's very Jimmy Cagney as well. It's very
Yeah,
Cagney.
yeah.
All right. So Dragon Master says here, I think it's really sad that there is a T rank for. I haven't seen this movie, nor a lot of movies out there. So Dragon Master, I'm assuming you're a youngster. This is the perfect opportunity in your lifetime to check out movies like this. Considering how much I'm sure you see guys like me and Comics Division and Midnight's Edge, we talk up like we know there's a lot of dunking on a lot of modern stuff. This is the golden age to check out all these movies that you have not ever seen. This is your time, my friend. Watch
Depends
these
on
Mafia
how old
movies.
are you and where are you? And of course, yeah.
love
is he
this-
not- how old
love
is
this
Dragon
tracking
Master?
shot.
No, he's no. To quote this movie, he's all right. He's an all right guy. He's all right.
right.
He
This
can
tracking shot
handle
is
it.
amazing through the kitchen. It's a
Yes.
brilliant
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah, this is one of the
Yes.
most brilliant scenes in all
And that
cinema.
sets
Yep.
us. And this was
And
what.
I
sets the
clip
stage.
like every second of it, a ton of the scene, but it's just this is before the high tech steady cams too. So I think Tom, I'm sure you know more about the movie than me, but in terms of how they filmed it, but I think they'd set up a steady cam and.
Yeah.
I mean to get this scene. I remember watching Ebert review this movie, and just to film this scene. I mean, to get everyone to walk through and to get it to work and to time it, it's just gorgeous, and it totally sets up how amazing this character is. He says in the beginning, he's like, being a gangster is better than being the president of the United States. So, and the movie really romanticizes being in the mob or in the mafia in the
Absolutely.
beginning, and then the color palette of the film changes towards the end, and everyone's looking old and haggard by the end of the movie. So
Cool.
just in the beginning,
Marie!
this is like,
Marie, can you see me on the computer? Am I on? Hey, Nikki, it's so good that you invited me on here. I know my nephew Mad. He's been trying to get me on your show for a while now, so it's so good to be here. Hold on.
My God, Tony Soprano's put on some weight.
Oh my God, Nikki, thank you so much for having me on here with such great panelists as insert name. Oh, you the son of a bitch. Go get your shoe shine. Now, real quick, I wanted to talk about this movie because it's one of the greatest movies to ever happen. All right. When I was 10, I'm already choking up. When I was 10 years old, my father, Anthony Magnifico Calzone, picked me up from school, and he said,
Tony
"Yeah,
the
that's our
Big
name. It's a
Calzone.
family. It's Sicilian." And he said, "Maddie, I just saw the only accurate depiction of our people ever made. And from this day forward, you're done with Fugazi's dream of being the first Calzone to go to school. You're going to do everything you can to be a good fella." I looked at my father and I said, "But Papa, I guess I learned how to do the divisions." That's how we talked back then. And he said, and he gave me a Sicilian kiss. He smacked me across my mouth. And he said, "You listen to me. School. You listen to me. School's out. Now we got to get your smarts from somewhere else, like the streets. We got to get you street smarts."
You went all that way just for that fucking joke.
May Papa rest in peace. Thanks for being here.
And we can tell you made it through college successfully, right?
Well, I tell you what, I forgot how hot it was to tie an ascot. That shit gave me so much trouble. But
Went through all that trouble just to plug your show.
Come on, Tom.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
By the way, Tommy,
How do we follow that one up?
by the way, Tommy, I hear you have like this channel and like you do like 5 streams a day. My nephew Matt, I don't know if you heard of him. My nephew Matt is available like at all of those times. You just got to check with him.
I've never heard of him. Tom, have you heard of him? I don't know.
No.
Who's he
Some
talking
Oh
intern,
my
I
God.
guess.
I just looked at the panel. The 70s guy looks twice as old as I am.
Hey, my
I got a
favorite.
good wig guy if you need him.
Well, no, my favorite wig store is just about to come up on here.
All right, well,
Maury's. I call
before-
Maury's all the time.
Before we do Wigsters, I'm gonna let Mr. Mark talk about his life with the fellas.
That sounds interesting, but real quick before he does, I'm not even looking at the chat because I feel like there's hate already over there for me. I'm just saying. Go on.
No, everyone loves you, Mr. Calzone. But my mom. We were talking before the show, but my mom's family is off the boat, Italy. So growing up,
Facuzzi.
all this the food portion of the show I can vouch for. I can't vouch for anything else. But
linguine.
we were joking with the with the grandma when the guys come over after whacking.
Oh my God! Listen,
and they're like trying to feed him. So if you ever
all the
Calzone,
time,
right?
yeah.
If you came over to the house, everyone would try to feed you if they're an Italian grandmother, right? So food.
Real
is
quick.
big.
I'm not going to be here the whole time, so don't worry about me interrupting everybody. Real quick, Nikki, I was working on this gift for you. I was going to have a painting, but Maki failed me. You're supposed to give me a copy of that one. I ran out of time. Anyway, but it was going to be of you instead of that guy in the boat with the dogs. I was going to actually send it to
pointing
you.
west, one pointing east. Yeah, when the Italian grandmother's painting, yeah, that classic painting. Yep.
This Mama Luke here in the chat, what's he talking about? A knock. Mama Luke, that's something we say, right, Mock?
Sure. No, a knack. If you're from Boston.
No, you're a Mock. You're Mock. That's your name.
A Mark.
Yeah,
Isn't a calzone just a rolled up pizza, Maddie?
Calzone.
Actually, it's folded.
Oh, it's just folded.
It's
Well,
folded.
if you would, the grandmothers and my mom and my grandmother would make, bread every weekend and fresh pasta, so you'd learn to do all that stuff, you make homemade pasta and then, God forbid you bought something from a store, it had to be fresh. So,
I don't know why the star down here is being covered up by this lame attempt at keeping it from getting claimed.
But no, I mean this movie, yeah, like you were saying before, The Godfather, probably the first classic, mafia movie. But this movie really, it was a surprise how good it was. I mean, just
Didn't
love watching
surprise me
it.
a bit. All Italians.
Didn't surprise you, but it was it's awesome. I mean, just on the one hand though, it does glamorize, maybe things a little bit too much, but on the other hand,
The truth.
They get punished in the end. Unfortunately, they get it doesn't end up well. For the guys in the movie too. So that's why I love the contrast between how bright the movie is in the beginning, and then towards the end, it's everything is dark and depressing, and the walls are crumbling in on them. But
This is
It's a
where
rise and fall movie. It's a rise and fall
rise and
type
fall,
of
but
movie.
so well done. The cinematography is gorgeous. The De Niro, Pesci, everyone is just Liotta is just Murray. And everyone is just top notch actors in this movie.
I gotta
this your
say-
favorite wig scene, right?
Yeah, I got to say about the guy with the wigs. There was a store in New York when I was in high school that was called Crazy Eddie's. And those commercials remind me so much of the guy who used to go on the
Which
television.
is funny because Crazy Eddie got caught for doing
yeah.
similar shady business practices.
Yes.
Yep.
But
Come
those
on down.
commercials, they look so corny now if you watch them, because they're just like, how could anybody think this was going to advertise their business? Those actually look like commercials from the 1970s.
Yeah, that
I
was
love
awesome.
how they're beating the crap out of Maury, but he's actually their buddy. He's with them the rest of the movie in the bar.
Yeah, well, most of it, not all of it.
This is a great
These
fucking
scenes,
scene.
That's
this
because we
scene's
weren't
important.
pussies back then. We weren't
Yeah, this
pussies.
is a great
Hey,
fucking scene here.
Calzone. This scene's essential. We got to
Oh, my
talk
God.
about how Henry here goes on dishes the dirt after he sees
Hey.
what happens to his lady.
No, hey, listen. All right, now, here's what I'll say. I love Henry, God bless his soul. But I'm pretty sure that Jukazi set him up, right? She's Jewish. That Jukazi, set him up for this. Like, oh my God.
Exactly.
This
As soon as she comes in his life, it's trouble.
Yeah.
Nothing but trouble.
Well, that's women. 70s, that's just women.
Women.
What's
Not
your
my Marie,
ideal?
not my Marie, but
So
the other ones.
Maddie, what would your ideal woman look like then, as an Italian guy? Of a certain.
Well, more like a man, obviously. But listen,
There's a mustache.
here's the thing. This is all I'm gonna say about this chick. What's her name? Emily? I don't know. Who cares? Didn't pay attention to her.
Karen.
But yeah, Karen. This was a setup, right? She's like, oh my God, this guy that lives across the street from me, he beat me or whatever. What does Henry do? Just like an Irishman. That's the problem with the Irish. You know what they say, right? To be Irish is to know that in the end, the world's gonna break your heart. You know why you all went to jail? Because you wanted to. No one goes to jail unless they want to. And they all went to jail.
To get away from their wives, right?
Oh, a blessing.
Just think
All
about
men
Henry.
blessing.
Henry goes from a toxic wife to a toxic girlfriend. It gets worse for him, Like Debbie Mazur. She's just as bad.
Like twice too. You think he'd learn his lesson? Maybe women aren't for me.
Yeah, I full disclosure, I dated Debbie in the 70s. Holy shit.
Debbie Mazur. Did you
His
do Dallas?
girlfriend reminds me of one of my girlfriends. Holy cow.
Well,
Oh,
if
my
it's based on
goodness.
crazy, that's all of ours. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, that's pretty much. Yep.
She'd make a good psychologist, I think, though. Don't you think?
I think she
Cam?
became one.
She'd be a great psychologist. Counselor. Great counselor.
They had a lot of
yeah.
actual gangsters that were
I was there.
helping out with the film, and the funny thing is they ended up giving Warner Brothers fake social security number.
Hey, there's
So
only two
surprised.
things that you can only find two things that prove I'm a person: my birth certificate and I made like one of those fake dildos from based on my cock. It was big in the 90s, and you sell it to old ladies, and you had calendars. It was a whole thing. But those two things, only things that prove.
Your mother's in that salon scene, isn't she?
Yeah, I was
Your
gonna
mother?
say.
What's
I-
a salon?
Well, she's where she's wondering hey, what are you doing with these guys? Because she's like, all the ladies are going nuts, are saying that the dads are being crazy, and the whole family's nuts. She's learning how nuts everything she's walked into is. He's just like, it's okay. There's nothing here. It's okay. But obviously it's not okay.
It's so terrible that she instantly fell in love with everybody and became a part of the family. So terrible, these people.
She normalized it. She got so used to it. She got desensitized to it or it's just it became just a way of her life, living like this.
Or she learned the truth about the Sicilians. We're a welcoming people as long as you're one of us.
Like this shot here. Yeah, you see that they're one of them. They're like, hey, look, you're inducted into the family now.
Yeah,
And
once you're in, you're in. You know, it's like
Henry is like kind of an outsider because obviously he came just from a kid from the neighborhood, but
and he's Irish.
Yes,
And he's half Irish.
Yes,
He's half Irish, half Sicilian, which means he can never be made.
Yep.
Yep.
That's what
He
I
can
meant
never be
earlier
a
by-
maid. He can never be a full-fledged member of the mafia because he's not 100% Sicilian.
Well,
and that's what a
so-
lot of these guys have the problem of. And
Toxic
that's why I said
scene.
that Joe Pesci was their connection to the actual mob. Yeah.
That's a little misleading because, like, just like Scientology, there are certain levels you can pay for and you can get made. It's
Toxic Man Flu for $10 says Matt's
Nice.
mobster voice sounds like he is trying to swallow two cocks at the same time without lubrication.
why
Two
would I
cocks and a
cut?
frog?
Why would I cut off two cocks and then try to swallow them? That is ridiculous. If you're gonna make jokes, make them logical. My God, I'm not saying I couldn't fit both in my mouth, but how could I swallow them if they're attached to men?
You know,
Weirdo.
you're a funny guy, Maddie. You're a funny guy.
I'm not doing that bit with you. I'm not cheap. I'm not a cheap whore. You can just get to do your little bits. Not a bit. Oh, fucking
All right, Dustin,
partially made man.
you waited so patiently.
Which
Why don't
bit
you
was
talk
made?
about life with the fellas?
Oh man, like I remember, like I had moved into my my first apartment and had people over all the time, as you do. And we just watched this movie, and I went and I got Godfather trilogy on DVD, and we would just watch the shit out of it.
Nice.
I mean,
See, you
I didn't
live
see it
that
before
mafia
that.
life
I didn't really
too.
see it before that, but I watched a lot of like Arnold movies and shit like that, but I didn't get this kind of stuff on VHS when I was younger. I had to be out on my own before I had this movie.
It was
Ah,
Marty's mum.
She's I was gonna say
borrow the
played-
knife.
I
played
guess
by
it's
her-
Exactly.
completely improvised. I guess.
I love this scene. I
So
love
good.
this scene so
I-
much.
I love that she came to the dinner table with that painting. It's like, oh, by the way, did I show you this painting that's right next to me? Don't know how it got there.
There we go. Look
There
at
it is.
this. Look at this. Yeah.
I was gonna have it be Nick.
That's better than I could draw him.
Where's
Right,
the
it was-
only way everyone
This is
stayed
brilliant.
alive? Oh man.
Hey,
Uh,
oh man,
can we
that
mention the
motherfucker.
large ass casting this movie has? Because it's almost like I granted in a lot of these type of movies there's a lot of the usual suspects, but this movie is like a who's who. Because
Well,
besides,
funnily enough, the one
Go
who
ahead.
didn't show up would be Al Pacino, right? He was supposed to play Jimmy.
That's true.
But he
was.
turned
Yep.
it down and instead was in Dick Tracy.
Good choice.
Oh, that was a
Mumbles
good
awesome.
choice.
Love that. See, I like.
He
Dick
later
Tracy.
said he regretted it, of course.
Why? He was Mumbles. No, wait, no, that was the other guy, the wag
he
the
was-
dog guy.
He was Big Boss or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he should have took this one instead. I thought it was Mumbles. Who was Mumbles? Wag the dog. Rain Man. He played the retard in Rain Man. Yeah, that's him.
You got
Mumbles.
the Scorsese's parents. You also got a few of the Sopranos guys too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Frankie,
you see
Billy
you
Bats.
see yep. Billy Bats, Paulie Walnuts
Yes,
early
Paulie
on.
Walnuts.
I
yes,
hated
way
The
early
Sopranos.
on.
Big
Hated the Sopranos.
Yeah, big pussy. He's the one
Yes.
pushing the rack of fur coats.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently
yes.
there's 27 actors that went on to be in The Sopranos, plus someone in this film plays Martin Scorsese in The Sopranos.
Believe it.
Nikki,
This
know who
was,
it is.
this
I
was
just read
like
it.
this was like, I don't want to say this was like the Training League because this is an amazing movie, but they
careful.
pulled so many people from this movie to
Christopher.
be in The Sopranos. It's almost like they wanted to give The Sopranos the
legitimacy, the good movie. Yeah,
legitimacy, of this movie. Given the number of people that got to, they recast and put in The Sopranos.
Listen, I talked to all 27, and they all said, "My God, if we knew that this show was going to be all about feelings, we would have never signed up for it." The Sopranos is Fugatti. It's garbage. Oh, feelings this, feelings that. I banged my mom. Whatever. Get over it.
I hate my uncle. Yeah,
I banged
exactly.
your mom.
You want another shot of that one? Or are you happy with it?
No, that'll do. We'll let it
Okay.
go.
Oh, I love
Christopher.
this. The spider with
Yeah.
spider.
Yep.
Oh
Like
my
what's
Spider.
god,
around us, yeah.
dude!
Yep.
The dialogue.
We're moving right through this
dialogue.
movie. Holy shit.
The dialogue in this scene is great. Look,
I love that guy.
You see Spider stick it. He sticks it to him, and all of a sudden things go down because he tries to push back.
He's fucking
Yep.
fine. It's a big
Oh,
fucking deal.
Yeah.
they're all, you gonna take that? You gonna take? No, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I was just joking. Yeah.
I was on his side. That kid fucking deserved it.
Yeah, it goes back to that opening scene where he's like dude gets shot and runs up to the butcher shop and he brings out all the aprons, and then his boss is all mad at him for dirtying all the aprons.
Yeah, as he should have
Was it
fired him
nine?
right then.
He wears
that was Henry.
nine aprons.
Yeah.
And why don't you go?
We gotta
fuck
toughen this
yourself,
kid up.
Tommy? Why don't
Yeah.
you go fuck yourself, Tommy?
Oh, I'm bleeding my freaking store entrance.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Which
God.
the
Wait,
kid
we're
should
just-
have said when you think about it, right? I mean,
Oh,
not gonna
no.
respect him, right? And then
Oh God, you know nothing of our people, Mock.
nothing. Yeah, nothing. Yep.
He couldn't let he
Your
couldn't let it
people.
slide.
You mean
Yeah.
transvestites?
And then
The
he's like, I couldn't.
Sicilians.
He's like, I couldn't miss at that range, right? He's like, it was just like good shot. Yeah. What's the matter with you? What, are you stupid or what? Oh my God, what is
Toxic Man Flew for $5 says, "Big pussy. My ex-wife was in Goodfellas. That I know of."
Well said,
It's like that
Toxic.
joke from the Predator, man.
Good one,
Ouch.
Toxic.
Thanks, Tox.
That's a good
But
one.
that's yeah, that and the laughing, you think I'm funny scene are the two that show us just how crazy Tommy is. Because nobody else can believe that he's done it.
What do you
Yeah.
mean he's crazy? Crazy how?
Yeah, he's crazy. He's like a shithouse rat is what he is. And
He stands
even,
up for himself. Is that crazy?
Well,
Yeah.
this is where
It is the
cracks
way
are
he
starting
does
to
it.
Show.
He's
You
very
saw-
short, though. You can't tell he's standing.
He is. It's hard to tell he's standing up. He looks like he's sitting down.
Wow.
see-
and
you
you
see
wonder
the-
why he shot people.
You see the cracks are showing. You see that there's flaws within the crew. There's flaws.
Zero
here.
flaws. This system has worked for hundreds of years. All right, I'm not gonna hear you badmouth our system. We're Sicilian. We know what we're doing.
Where in Italy is Sicily? Maddie,
Huh?
can you
What?
describe it? Point to it on a map.
70s. The Linguini and the Ficini alone would blow your mind.
It's on the Linguini Peninsula. Is it?
yeah.
The
Well,
Linguini
it's the one that looks like a boot.
Get to
I
the
don't think
heel of
I don't
Italy
think
where you
Ficini
belong,
I don't think
like Grandma
Ficini
used
is
to say.
legal in Sicily.
Well, wait, look, I haven't been there in a long time, since I was a boy. I spent my life trying to contribute to the Americana, the American dream that we're chasing. Legally, might I add, for the most part.
So, the American dream, you mean greed, violence, and betrayal? As portrayed in this movie.
I mean,
Pretty
you act
much.
like I'm handing out blankets with smallpox. I'm just taking a few dollars here, a few dollars there. I'm not hurting nobody.
Just protection for everyone, right? Just protection, right? For people who can't go to the
Yeah.
police, right? Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay, for all the lessons he took about not looking short, he came off freaking playing like he was 10 feet tall because he was doing some of those brutal kills non-stop in the movie. I'd say in some instances, I'd say he kind of outshines Leota in some instances because of how crazy and maniacal his character is.
This is my favorite part of the movie. It's like a dream for men, No women. You get to cook with your boys. It's like a grown up like summer camp.
Thing is, even if you don't like lobster, you were forced to eat it.
Yep.
Stuck eating lobster in prison, yeah.
You're going to eat this and like it.
Yeti likes the garlic tip.
Yeah, you're welcome, Yeti. Yeti's always loved my tip.
Yeah, everything's got to have garlic if you're Italian too. So there's
You
always
could have got a
always
better
fresh
Scotch sauce.
Garlic,
Yeah.
and there's got to be bread involved. It's got always be
Bread,
bread.
Bread has to. Yeah, there's always bread, and there's always red wine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True,
As
red wine.
as he says, we get the red wine. Now we can eat.
Yes.
I've always liked mine from I don't know if you've had this. It's a delicacy. It's called Boone Farms. You can get it like in a gallon at a gas station. Nothing's been more convenient and more tasty.
Yeah, you can pick up a gallon of Boone's Farm and a plate of sushi at your local gas station. It's awesome.
What else do you need? You get a little caccini, you get some fettuccine, and you have yourself a meal. From my family to yours, I own a little stock in Boone Farms.
Now this is actually the start of Henry's downfall.
No, when he met Karen was the start of his downfall.
No, I don't agree that was true. I think with prison, when he started dealing drugs,
Yeah, I agree. She's
he
loyal.
couldn't give it up.
Yes, it was the drug.
He got hooked. Yep.
Drug money.
Yep.
She's loyal,
And
to
that
the
was
fault.
and that really was a no-go for the mafia, because that was the one way they were guaranteed to get the feds down on them. They could bribe local police for everything else they did, but if you started dealing drugs, the DEA would knock on your door, and they couldn't be bribed.
That's
Well, they even
the
addressed that in Godfather. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. 70s.
No, you said you're cutting into the DEA's trade if you're dealing in drugs instead of them.
Exactly.
Whoa, right.
Government does not like competition.
That's right. Yeah.
For the record, I'm a big fan of the government. I have a lot of friends there. I don't like this bad mouthing of it, but I will say this. Thank God we stopped with the whole can't sell drugs or whatever. You know how hard it is to get cocaine?
Can we
if you're
just
not dealing
appreciate
it?
how hot Debbie Mazur is? Anyway.
She is.
Don't even know who that is.
She is. She went out with Red Shirt, apparently.
Yeah, it's word on the street, Red. So Red Shirt at one point was the Red Shirt, even way back in the day. She knows his Red Shirt, like, you're my Red Shirt.
And look at
then
this
all of a
class.
And I'm lucky I survived.
It's a groovy pad. Elvis would have loved this.
Real to real.
Oh yeah.
Boone Farms. The way Mama made it. Boone Farms. Get yours at your local gas station.
Right. It's Nick. It's definitely time for a super chat break.
I love. Hold on, wait, before you do that, this is more important. I love the.
Eat that bitch!
All right. Pope
Not
Metallicus
for nothing, but come on.
$5 says, I never knew Liberus was in the mob.
Liberace.
Yes, there really Liberace was the mob. Yes,
Liberace,
there really is a
yep.
gay mafia.
Man, he's trying
Careful
so hard.
talking about that organization. Just saying.
He's trying so hard to be funny. I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Guys, I'm going to let
Pizza
you
time.
talk. And then
God damn it! Now I want pizza.
Pizza.
Hungry.
Oregano, too. Oregano. So go ahead,
Oregano.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Any anchovies like I had the other night?
Oh, I had anchovies in my
No,
pizza last
we
night.
don't talk
Oh,
about
it's good, yeah.
anchovies.
Yes, Mark.
Anchovies.
yeah.
No.
Good stuff, yeah.
That's what I had last night in my pizza.
All right.
I need
70s,
no
yeah.
anchovies.
Oh,
You put
yes.
anchovies on
Hey,
this
it's
thing
your
and
boy
you're
in the
big
shower.
trouble, okay?
Look, he looks happy being in the shower. Look at that face. Ah, yeah.
What's happening below him? Yeah.
He's just gotten the word on the Lufthansa heist.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's actually the jingle from 1010 WINS in New York. So they actually had the station, if you're from this area.
Yeah.
That's
Was
actually
it
how it would
probably-
have sounded.
They
Yeah.
just-
So
Aside from a lot of these scenes being improvised, they did try to be as accurate as they could. I know that. I mean, there's some stuff that's amalgamized, but
Look,
as soon as I heard that, I'm like, that's
Oh.
1010 wins.
like my
WINS
father
New
said,
York.
it's the most accurate depiction of our people ever on film.
well, that's one
What
thing
do you mean,
Scorsese
your
always
people?
tried to do, and even like De Niro was like obsessed with being as accurate as he could be with the character.
Yeah. Look, I don't
He's
want to talk
great
out of
the way-
school. I don't want to talk out of school, but I knew his double. Real nice guy. He's from the neighborhood. But he said, like, trying to put that, like, that he swears to God, this is just him. All right, not me. Don't come after me. But that mole is fake. He said he's seen it move around his face more than once.
Well, Henry
Anyone
Hill
want to
said-
answer? Oh, go ahead, Tom.
I say Henry Hill said that De Niro called him multiple times and to ask him such trivial things such as like, how did Jimmy smoke his cigarette and how did he put ketchup on his food and shit like that. Like, and he even had a matching pinky ring and something else. I can't remember what else for each suit he has too. I think cufflinks and pinky ring or something like that. Sorry, you were saying, Nick.
No. I was gonna say, anyone on the panel want to answer this question for Mr. Brian?
Yeah, I got it
here. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Are you gonna read it to me, or you just
All right,
expect?
question for everyone: how is Martin Scorsese still on top and not retired? Normally, people his age decline retired. For me, I'll answer really quickly. The guy is obviously he's still hungry, he's still motivated. So that's simple answer for me. Go ahead, Maddie Calzone.
Yeah, thank you. So he keeps it simple, right? He sticks to the same basic beats and everything he does because, memory, you're going to lose it, right? Every once in a while, he'll be like, wait, what about a mystery on an island with crazy people? Don't do that, Mike. Marty, don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Just stick to what you know. And hey, that's what my nephew Mad, over on his channel, they stick to what they do. Street Spots, is it getting old? Fuck you. We're still doing it.
Shameless self-plug.
I'd have to say it's because he doesn't. I mean, we know him of him as a guy who makes good mafia type films, but he makes lots of other things. He has a great variety.
Name one.
Shutter Island.
I just talked about
Wolf
that
of
one.
Wall Street.
Yep.
Which is
I
kind
did
of
like the
Last
Irishman's
Waltz,
on
the George Harrison documentary he did, which is brilliant.
I would just say
The
simply,
Aviator.
yep. The reason he's still not retired is simply he's got another story he wants to tell,
Yeah,
which he
yeah.
does very well. He tells great stories.
That's right. It's not.
he
just
knows
about
how to
the mob.
pull you in. I mean, even his worst films are good, right?
Yep.
Like that's the thing
Agreed.
with Scorsese is he is one of the greats. He is up there on the Mount Rushmore of all time. Like you can't argue that. I mean, because even like I said, even his misses are better than most people's hits. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I really want to see him take on the superhero craze. I feel like he really has a story he could tell in like the MCU.
you know
And
what?
Tom-
he could probably
That's the
he
MCU to you.
would take and make look what he did. Basically, he produced the Joker. That's
Yeah.
basically what he would
that's
say.
right.
And
He's
you
a
know what,
producer.
Tom? Kathleen Kennedy can't stand that.
Even though he backed out of producing the Joker, he still got that movie made.
Yeah. But I mean, when you're talking about his misses are better than most people's hits. I mean, how many
Exactly,
people
yeah.
we could sit here for the next 25 minutes and just throw out names of people who, at their very best, never touched the worst Martin Scorsese produced.
Absolutely.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, there we go. We're on our roll, folks.
Man, that M. Night Shyamalan, he had that one idea and has been like suckering
milking
studios
that too.
into giving him money ever since. He's like, no, I can bring you another I see dead people moment. Trust
What a
me.
twist.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What is a lady in the water? Ooh.
No, I love The Irishman.
Murray's
I mean,
gone. Huh?
Wolf of
well,
Wall
I
Street
just
is like
felt-
a spiritual sequel to this in a way.
The Departed is
Oh,
probably one
I
of his
agree.
greatest movies ever made. The Departed. Just
Oh,
saying it is
Departed.
fun.
The
You
Departed
see,
is amazing.
you see, he's starting to
Departed.
lose it here. You look at his hair. He's good now. He doesn't look all
Well, we're
sharp
just
anymore.
speeding through this film.
Yeah, no,
here.
we usually the slideshow takes too long, so I had it set to 2
I
seconds.
guess. I'm
so
like, holy shit. I
guess
said
I
that
gotta
earlier when we got
recalculate.
to the
we could
spider
we could,
scene.
We could spin around, or maybe it might have gone out of order. I
Make
gotta
them go
check, but,
backwards.
It's
yeah,
okay.
go backwards.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
At
don't
least
do
we'll
that.
get to
Don't
the
do that.
slideshow.
No, don't do that. He'll call the devil. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You don't play it
Play
back.
it backwards. Yeah.
Backwards.
But,
We'll have Marlon Brando showing up here in a moment if we're not careful.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Came back from the dead. What are you guys
But
doing?
where you talk about the mafia stuff, and it is as I said, it's kind of glamorized. But growing up, I'd hear all kinds of stories, and my dad was telling me about a guy that had his own independent garbage business, and it was in the news too. And the mafia kept telling him, "Hey, it's time for you to sell out to us." And the guy kept telling him, and he told my dad too. He said, "I'm not going to sell. I'm going to keep my route." And they finally, he said they made one offer, the final offer, and the guy just disappeared. That was it, So the next week,
Almost like
he
Almost
was
like an
gone.
offer he couldn't refuse.
Yeah, and he refused it, and that was it. So and I've heard, I've talked, other friends around here, and you always hear stories, or people that had businesses and they were competing, and guess what? They're no longer with us now. They're gone. So I mean, as much as it's it's kind of fun, and in terms of these guys could do anything, they're kings of the world. They're can do whatever they want. They're protected, but in the end, a lot of people did get hurt, and that's why this portrayal is just so amazing. Scorsese just shows
He shows
the
all the
rise and
sides to
fall,
it,
all the sides to it, and it doesn't. The beginning it glamorizes it, and we see with Karen and his wife. It's just, how are you getting into the Coca Cabana? How is it you get the front seat right in front of Frankie Valli?
So,
How's this working? Yep.
Tom mentioned The Godfather earlier, and that's more of an elegy to the mob. This is much more like a documentary, or a much more
very
ruthlessly
true.
down to earth. Yeah.
I don't want to break kayfabe here, but a lot of the things that you see in the Mafia is actually from the guy that wrote The Godfather. Like, he made up all that bullshit, all the on the day of my daughter's wedding and all that bullshit, and all these gangsters from Italy saw it and were like, well, I think that's what we're supposed to do. It's the same thing with like the continental accent, like the way they talk in the 30s. Like, well, frankly, my dear, I don't think that's how you do this. You know what I mean? All that was all bullshit, but people heard it and they started art imitating life imitating art. But real quick, back to one more thing, because Mark talked a long time. I couldn't get any jokes in. I asked my father the same thing like that. Like, what happens to what he explained to me, and I believe him, Anthony Magnifico Calzone. He'll never lie. May he rest his soul. He said that, no, Maddie, what happens is, like, if they don't agree with us, like if they don't sell us their business, we send them on a vacation. They will, write letters to their loved ones, let them out know everyone's okay, just like your dead cat. I'm like, that makes so much more sense now. So yeah, they send him on vacation with my cat, Fluffy.
Yeah. So you still haven't got any jokes
Permanent
in.
vacation.
Yeah.
I lost the thread on that one.
Where I grew up in northern New Jersey, the Mafia was in charge of garbage collection. That was one of their biggest industries they owned, and you could not get into that. Mm-hmm. And my town had a closed, sealed bid thing where they wanted new bids for garbage collection for the town. And from what I remember reading in the paper, there was the company that had been doing it for a long time, which obviously was mob connected. And this other company decided they were going to bid. And the guy delivering the bid to town hall had a car accident, and he didn't make it to town hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He ran off. He just ran off the road. Apparently,
don't you like the days when it was just the mob did that? Now the FBI are doing it. Everybody's doing
right.
The helicopter. The helicopter. All right. Way back in the day, because when I used to live in Cicero, I had an uncle, but way before he passed, he used to run a shoe store called Hawthorne Shoe Store, and his biggest customers way back in the day were Capone and Nitty. Those were his granddad. He was set for years just off of Capone and Nitty. Hawthorne Shoe Store was like, that was all he needed. Everything else was just a bust. It's funny because his store did, I guess you could say, fairly good sales wise if you took out Capone and Nitty, but it's just, those guys and everyone else connected to them just. They made up for it. They made up for all those numbers throughout the years selling shoes. So yeah, I mean, it's weird to think that my uncle at the time was a consistent customer of some big name Mafia guys. Like, it's like, what? And that was like huge for me. Like, you're like, what? Yeah.
Well, you had to too. Like, I know another story from a guy like moved somewhere and with his business, he was telling us, he's like, oh, I wanted to get a better quote on my trash removal. And then whenever he tried to get a quote, they'd say, well, who's your hauler? And he'd say the name. And like, oh, I prefer not to quote on that. So like the next month, he's like, well, I decided to stay with you. And the guy's kind of like, well, I knew you'd be back. It's like no one was going to, that was his route. And you weren't going to, no one else would, God forbid,
nobody else is going to get it. We just saw some stills through one of my favorite scenes where Henry has been, hanging around with Sicilian mobsters for so long.
Should we slow it down so you can talk about it?
That's okay. I mean, it's basically he's talking about what he wants to cook, and he's got some beautiful cutlets, which are, I'm sure, are veal cutlets. And he sounds like an Italian or a Sicilian talking about this big family meal he's going to cook, and his brother's helping him by stirring the sauce. Make sure you stir the sauce. I'll stir the sauce. You know, it's and I know the guy is half Sicilian, half Irish, and his wife is Jewish, and the Sicilian, half Irish for obvious reasons. But it looks. I had family friends. One and the woman, the wife, was Sicilian. The father was Polish, so don't ask me how those two got together. But they were a great couple. He was great on the accordion, and she was great in the kitchen. She made the most amazing Italian food.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I remember going to their house for a big celebratory dinner once for a holiday, and she had what had to have been like a 15-quart stock pot on the stove, simmering away. Obviously, it had been going all day, and it had everything you can think of to find in a pasta sauce in it. And you know, that was where I learned to like Italian food, was from her. Because she made spaghetti that wasn't watery. She made the most amazing sauces. They were all homemade. And Henry talking about, I got these lovely cutlets, and I'm going to saute those up as a side dish. And I'm just laughing at it, going, this sounds like my parents' friend from way back in the day. So that to me was part of what made it authentic to me, was that they didn't hit any sour notes in this for the culture, for the people. It rings true all the way through, even in the most trivial details, talking about what he's going to cook. It rings true, and that's part of the reason I think this movie is the classic that it is.
I like the storytelling too. I know, like Scorsese's gotten people who've complained about the narration, but I love the narrating. I think it's great. It tells you it gives you extra layers to the character, like little things to the character. Like, oh, okay.
I loved it right up until they let the woman do it.
Well, that conversational style makes you feel like he's talking just to you. I mean, he's telling you his story.
It feels personal.
It's great.
Thank you, 70s. Yeah. It feels like you're connecting with. It's almost like it's the closest way of them breaking like the fourth wall in a way, because it's like, okay, now I see him living his life through the movie, but now he's telling me. So he's taught to me, I guess you could say, for further context. So now I always appreciated that.
Yeah, you're basically inside his head. You're hearing him narrate. Not necessarily, it may not necessarily be narrating to us. He's narrating his life to himself.
Oh, it totally is.
And so we're inside his head, hearing him describe his life to himself. And I know that's that's somebody who's talking to himself, and that's supposed to mean you're crazy. But that's an internal narrative, and I love that. I agree with you, because yes, it brings you into his world far more. You're not just watching it; you're inside his head throughout this movie.
Oh my God, I never noticed that before. This movie goes, oh man, a shot at the reality. Did you see they had a woman playing a cop? Like a DEA agent? What kind of... Oh, come on. Wow, Marty. I didn't know he was that woke even back then. Nothing? Well, fuck y'all. I'm about out of here.
Still no jokes.
Swing and a miss.
It's fascinating.
You guys are giving me shit for giving him shit for the first joke that he took 2 years to get to.
It was fascinating.
Really not even a joke. It was just a plug for his show.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't have a show.
It did fascinate me watching this, that you talked about him making all this food on that day. How did he have the concentration to spend all that time making that food with everything else that was going on?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Real Italian.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Not a lot of people know this, right? But there's a deleted scene where somebody takes a bite out of it, like, what the fuck? This is shit. So it may have looked like he was getting it done, but it turned out to be, Fugazi.
And was
by the
that
end
all
of it.
real food that they stressed the set with, or was it just?
It looked good to me.
It
But,
did look good. Yeah.
Dude, look
Yeah,
at
I
those
mean,
eyes.
I mean,
Hold
when
on,
you
look,
grow up
can we
in a
get
family like
pause?
that, yep.
I want to
Sure,
see
yep.
those eyes. Just let's look at those eyes.
incredible.
Yes.
The man
this is
who
a heartbreaking
wants
scene here.
sauce. He's like, hey, I need this kid to store the sauce, but you see those eyes, like that is the eyes of cocaine being a hell of a drug.
Well,
Because
that's the scene where Polly finally says, "This is it. We're done."
Yeah. To
Yeah.
turn my back on you now.
And now I got to turn my back on you.
Yeah.
And it's just-
Those eyes,
Oh,
you know,
look
they
at
make
that.
you.
look at
Yeah,
that.
they definitely make you go like, okay, maybe just once, maybe just this
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah.
I'll try.
He looks like he hasn't slept in a week.
No, it doesn't.
Oh wait, okay, we were looking at those eyes in very different ways,
You were gazing into them. That's why.
and they gazed right back into me. Oh, Nietzsche.
But
Is he
I'm
the Italian
all
philosopher?
right now, dude.
Yeah.
Seriously, that is drugs personified, right? Yeah, right. Just zoom in, like, look at that.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was after watching an episode of Street Smart.
He's obviously wired. He's obviously wired, but he looks, I mean, the only thing he doesn't have is his eyes aren't bloodshot all day.
I mean,
all to
by
hell.
drugs, if you mean the drug of lust for that peen, I'm on board with you. Yep. Yep.
Oh
Wow.
my god.
Well, I'm gonna call it a night on that one. Marie's gonna be like yelling at me anyways because we're supposed to go to her mother's. The jacuzzi side, if you know what I mean. They're Jewish. Not the best food. Good people though. Good people. I feel bad about some of the things that happened back in the day. You know what I mean? Like,
No, you don't.
I 6 million felt too many. You know what I mean? Too many. Like I think he could have got away with like 2.5. It doesn't matter. So yeah, you're never gonna see me again because this robe is fucking hot as shit. I forgot how to tie an ascot. Can't see shit through these glasses. But other than that, Nikki, thank you so much for being here. I know my nephew Mad would love to be back on, not your show. He's here all the time. He's a co-host. Would love to be a part of, I don't know, we'll call it like Midnight Edge or some shit. By the way, I don't know if you're looking for investors, but I may have some people that are interested, maybe put some money in your pocket. You know, we'll talk after, Tommy. We'll talk after.
All right. Well, thank you, Calzone. And I think you're gonna need a panettone for that one for dessert. So
Wait, are you asking to fuck me? What?
no, I say you need a panettone. Now.
Oh, sorry. That's what my uncle always called his dick was panettone. He's like, hey, you want some of the panettone? Always had fun going to his house in the summers. All right, I'm out.
I will take into consideration your offer, but I don't appreciate the way you come into my house and acted. You acted like a fool. You made us all look bad. And I don't ever want to see you act this way again. In fact, I ought to slap you across your fucking face right now for acting like such a fool. I just look at you and I think, what have they done? What have they done to my poor boy?
I'm like, it's weird. I'm both like turned on and kind of insulted, which is like the best way to get off, in my opinion.
You look like Las Vegas puked up all over somebody.
You would be fucking. Fuck it, I'm done. My throat hurts. Bye, guys.
Where did he go?
Oh my
I
god!
think Luca Brasi made sure. he
Well,
went to
apparently
sleep with
Mad
the
Mardigan's supposed to show up in a few minutes, guys. So apparently he's late. So,
Well,
so you like the
As long as they
Calzone
didn't get
show.
whacked.
I hope he's
I tell you.
funnier than his uncle.
I tell you, I think that robe fell off the back of a truck in Bayonne.
And it was a large truck.
I'd never be caught dead wearing something like that.
Dude. All the dudes have the dudes in this movie. All the dudes are just like, my hair looks freaking amazing. Like everyone's got Chuck Norris levels of amazing hair in this movie.
Yep.
Like all
Or
the
a great
dudes
wig.
do. Or great-
Especially the wig guy.
Well,
Maury.
no.
Maury's got the best.
Pesci's real hair, obviously. Obviously Leota, De Niro. Trying to think who else. God, what's his face? Paul. He's always looked like that.
Well, yeah, Paul Sorvino. He's got great hair.
Frank Vincent, as Billy Bats. He does. Obviously Frankie Carboni, Frenchie. Yeah, a lot of these guys have the real deal hair. Which, man, I guess they're the dudes that aged well with the hair.
Oh, I gotta ask. Do you guys think that he was gonna have the wife whacked here, or do you think that was really just dresses?
What do you guys think? That. What do you think? Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was gonna whack her. I don't
think so.
Was gonna kill her if she'd walked into that store.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Years ago, I didn't think so, but now I do. Yeah.
Now you do.
Yeah. I was going to mention this because I didn't know if we were going to get to it in the slideshow, but yeah, this literally for the first time since she's met Henry, she suddenly realizes these people might kill me.
Yeah, look what's going on.
She realizes she's not exempt from this, despite being married to Henry. She realizes she realizes, oh crap, there's mortality for me in all this. Like, because that's the thing. Usually, when you're like married to someone, you kind of feel like you have a little bit of like leeway. You have an edge. You think, okay, well, I'm protected now. Which in most obviously cases you are, but there's always something where you kind of fall out of line in certain instances, and that can change in the flip of a dime.
Well,
but do you think that they would have whacked her before they sent him down to Florida for that hit, quote unquote hit? That
opportunity basis.
Exactly. I mean, she normally she'd be protected. Family was normally off limits, but if they think he's going to tell anybody anything, she's at risk.
This was De Niro's character that was cleaning up.
Exactly.
He was the one that was cleaning up.
And we saw how he cleaned up after the Lufthansa heist.
Yeah.
He took everybody out.
But similarly, for me, I always wondered whether, do you think Pesci knew, or not Pesci, but his character knew, or did you think he was going to get hit at the end when he thought he was going to be a made guy? I always thought that was going to happen. Like me watching it thought that was going to happen. But I think it wasn't because I've got any great insight. I just felt this isn't going to end well for him. He thinks he's on top.
The only way he wouldn't have gotten killed when he did or earlier is if nobody had figured out who killed Billy Bats.
Billy Bats, yeah.
Because Billy Bats was a made guy. And they say it in the film. Henry narrates it. You don't if you're an associate, and this is in Donnie Brasco. If you're introduced to a crew as he's a friend of mine, that means you're an associate. If you're introduced as he's a friend of ours, that means you're a made guy. Mm-hmm. That's code. Made guys are untouchable. There has to be a sit down. There has to be a decision. This guy's done something. Now, Henry did something that would have gotten him killed, which is he dealt drugs. And Tommy did something that did get him killed, which was he took out a made guy without permission from the capo of that family.
But so I know Paul Sorvino Paulie was asking earlier, do you know anything about this? Do you know who killed Billy? You know where Billy is? Do you think Jimmy tipped him off surreptitiously in order to take Pesci's character out? I think that might be how, because they didn't know for sure.
Who else would have known, right?
Yeah. There was accusations later on that Jimmy was the only one who really had any influence or power, and that the other two were more hanger-ons, and that was the only reason they were really friends with Tommy in the first place, is because he was the only one who could be made. So they seen that as an in, and once basically, let me put it this way. I think Jimmy is the type of person, from what I've read about, that he would totally fuck over his friend to get in good graces with the mob.
Yeah. I know about what happened. Here's who did it. Just under the table.
Exactly.
Tell
He's
Paul
a
Sorvino.
weekly
Yes.
fucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Jimmy would have sold out anybody.
Oh, Conway, yeah. Conway, you don't put past Conway to take anyone off. No one's off the table with him.
Yeah, because
No
Exactly.
he didn't have to do it then. He knew Paul Sorvino would do it. Paulie would do it.
Did we ever find out in because I know Henry Hill wrote a book. Did we ever find? And I haven't read
The
it.
Wise Guy book? Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to
did
actually
they
ask
ever
you
say
guys
who-
on the panel. Did you guys read it?
I mean, maybe they say in the book, or of course, you don't know who to believe.
I don't think they do, but I
believe
think
it.
the movie's implying that either way.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Well,
But he does a great job
Jimmy,
acting with the phone booth there. He's all upset and stuff. Then you're thinking, yeah, did he just have him?
I think
Right.
he
have
Did
him
you
off.
just have him killed?
set him up.
Is he quote acting
Yeah.
like he's upset about it? But yeah, remember when he was in his early 20s, I mean, from the age of 16, I think it was, he was a hitman for the mob. Jimmy was.
Yeah.
So
We lost him.
Oh.
He'll be back.
He's
Retro will
phased
be
out.
back, but it says here, did you know Tommy was only killed because he tried to seduce Karen and Paulie already knew but kept quiet and was in an affair with Karen? Ooh, spicy. Yeah. The spice. Red shirt, you there?
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Finish where you left
Yeah.
off.
The wiretap is working now. Yep.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, DIA. I appreciate it. Now that I've got my feedback. But yeah, he's a stone cold killer. That Machiavellian kind of, if I tell Paulie, he'll get rid of Tommy, yada yada yada. It's he could have killed Tommy himself. That's the kind of guy he was. He was a hitman from an early age.
Yeah,
so it doesn't strike me as odd that he would have Tommy taken out.
Yeah, I just
if
think
he
he
thought
didn't
he was no longer an asset.
Yeah, he
That's
didn't
what I
want to do
meant,
it.
yep.
He personally didn't want to do it himself this time because he was close to him, so he just set him up with Paulie to do it.
Well,
That's
and like
Paul
I said,
Sorvino.
that was the thing that really got to Jimmy, I think, most of all, like with the other guys, was like, if you were of not pure Irish blood, you were never getting into the mob. You were never going to be a made man. You could always be an associate, but you could never be a made man. So that's why Tommy was important to him, because he was his connection to getting into that world. And once he's seen an in without him, because at that point, like you just said, he's no longer an asset to him. He can become more valuable to the mob by turning him over, is what I was saying.
Yes.
So I could see him totally. And that's what I was saying. Like a lot of the people that were going through, like, what really happened, what really didn't happen. A lot of people like to say that like Henry was really just kind of a hanger on of Tommy, and same thing with Jimmy. But Jimmy was the one who was really involved with the big heist and all that kind of stuff. And
Jimmy was the thinker.
yeah.
Yeah, Henry loved the life, but Jimmy was the thinker, the schemer.
And Jimmy wanted to be a capo, but couldn't be.
That's what I mean. Yeah. He
wanted to be, he couldn't be, so he wanted to be the next best thing. He wanted to run a crew that a capo like Paul Sorvino's character would value, because that's the best he could do.
So we're looking there. This was domestically September 19th, 1990. It started in theaters, and then it ended June 27th. So by that number, it looked like it had to have been, so it was 1,000 theaters at the time, which at the time that's a lot. And you see it's up, nowadays it seems like a nothing number, but to open to 6 million
in September, not December, but yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right, Tom. This feels like one of those movies where Scorsese would have timed it out to put out, for the Christmas
season.
holiday season. Yeah, Oscar season. That's the tradition when they put out a lot of those movies, because I know obviously it's when you see all those types of movies. But 6 million, 5 million, and then 3, 2, 1. Like, geez, like obviously there's some weekends skipped here, but you could paint a picture. Like, this thing had legs, like insane legs, and it ultimately hit 46 million. So when you start off at 6 million your opening weekend and you go on to hit 46, nowadays that'd be like 150.
That's 12. Well, I just did the inflation calculator. It's $12 million, and plus don't forget that's before multiplexes
And if
really
What was
took
the
off.
budget of this? I can't imagine it was
Yeah.
much more than
So
10.
it's 7
tiny.
million.
7.
Yeah, it
that
would be in
sounds
like
about
4,000.
So you'll
yeah.
notice though that's in the era where there's no box office information money-wise truly for the rest of the world. The US total is the same as the worldwide, so it may well
Yes.
have made a lot more. I mean, I certainly went to
Yes.
see it in the cinema in Britain. You could probably double that figure
At
worldwide.
least.
Yeah.
And this, when you say this thing had legs, I mean, this thing went, as soon as it left the theaters, it went to home video. And I have the 25th anniversary Blu-ray of this.
Yeah, I got the 4K too. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so-
nice.
Right. So, I mean, this thing 25 years later, they were putting out a special edition of this movie. And I bought it because I'm like, it has a book in it and an extras Blu-ray. I'm like, yeah, I want that. So no, this movie never just dropped off the radar completely. I don't think.
Did it? I remember when I was younger and I was discovering all those movies. What stood out to me is because my dad had this on VHS, and just that poster. You had Liotta, you had Pesci, and you had De Niro. It was one of those, like, it was such an iconic cover for the movie. And it was one of those images that stuck with me. Like, when you think of Goodfellas, you think of that cover, and I think Mr. Tom here wants to show off. Yeah, Tom, this is exactly what comes to mind. The very first thing.
Why has Tom put his face over Joe Pesci's character? Oh, sorry.
Don't mess with him. Get him his drink right away.
That's funny, like a clown. Do I lose you?
Oh man,
That is the image on the front of the 25th anniversary edition.
Great.
I got the
photograph.
Steelbook 4K as well, and that's a nice one.
ooh,
Just
you got
ooh,
the
nice.
steelbook.
It's just it's all black, and it's just the white part of the collar and the red tie.
It came with
Wow.
meatballs. It came with meatballs as well.
A little messy, but yeah.
I meant to ask Dustin now he's our keto expert. What did the food look like in this movie to you? I mean, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I used to eat all this food.
How
How
did it feel watching?
Pizzas. I don't know. I mean, it just looks like food to me, man.
Yeah, I just wondered because it's there's some heart attack stuff in there.
It looked pretty authentic to me, I got to say.
Yeah, it looked
So, you know, I told the story before. Growing up with, we had a relative, a Greco relative, and the guy, Uncle Joe. I don't think he was he wasn't my uncle. We all called him Uncle Joe, and the guy was maybe 5'2", 5'4", and we went to all the times we all had kitchens in the basement. So you go over and like they had the fresh pasta, but you had multiple courses. So you'd have like a ravioli course. Then you'd have like a homemade pasta course, and the mom would bring out like a bowl of pasta, and like Uncle Joe, the smallest guy, but he ate like all the whole bowl of pasta. Then the chicken, you'd have chicken that was roasted in the oven. Then sausage and peppers would come out, and then you'd have like another pasta course. I mean, it was and all fresh vegetables from the garden. My great grandmother had now it's 2 houses on the lot, but it was she had like a chicken coop. And she had greenhouses that were low greenhouses built into the ground, like to grow everything that was on the ground. And, just whole, we had stuff from, we'd find in the freezer, like, parsley frozen from like, that fell in the back, like, 1976, not this garden, you're like, oh, got to throw that out. But, everything was fresh and everything was just, they made their own wine. They had, the chicken coop, they had their own chickens. And, they told me they grew up through growing up through the Depression there was no, my aunt died at 103 last year. And, she's telling her stories. They had no running water in the house. Just, they had electricity, I guess, right at the turn of the century. But, there was an outhouse and you cooked and you cleaned and you had, there was no washing machine. So everything was, the women, like exactly this shot here. I've got pictures of family picnics like that with the sausage and peppers, and you'd cook, with the still have some of the frying pans that are 100 years old, and that's the way it was. But it was family, it was always together. You play bocce, but family was a thing, and the food was that thing that tied people together, and it was a big part of the culture. So yeah, the food was making me hungry. And Nick, of
Me
course, you
too.
know, whenever you make it up to New Haven or this way, I'm taking you out to some real
We
authentic,
are
awesome brick oven pizza
So
places.
having pizza.
There
when I
you
come
go.
down there, I cannot wait.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
All right, I want to ask you guys. We all know, as we've said about many of these old school movies, super quotable. What's up, Comic Chat? I see you, by the way. What is your favorite line? While you're talking, Mark, what's the quote that stands out? What's one of the quotes that stand out to you?
Well, the quote that Tom was just quoting, you know, do I amuse you? You know,
Well,
that,
this
that,
one clown?
yeah. I mean, that just when you hear that, and then he blows the.
No, what
kid,
about
you know,
me? It's so fucking funny.
Yeah, right. I mean, just Pesci just steals the, you know, steals them. And I love the line too in the beginning. I said, you know, I always wanted to be a gangster. Like, you know, being a gangster is better than being the president of the United States. So those are the standard. You know, they really the movie sets up, you know, that arc perfectly with those quotes. And there's just so
those
many
two
great lines in
are
there.
the
But
best ones, yeah.
yeah, and
Hey.
it's just. And when he meets you know, De Niro here, it's just, you know, and they aged De Niro really well in this, so this is great too. You know what they do with and it's just, you know, he meets him and he gets here's some extra cash to help you out, and yeah, he's just inducted here. It's just such a just so well, you know, everything is well done. Is there any bad scenes in this movie or anything that bores you? I mean, no, zero, right? I mean, even this little scene here is great. You know, help the lady, help her get the stolen cigarettes
Well,
in
that's
the
what
car, right?
Scorsese does best. Is he can, you know, he strings together these scenes that are just amazing scenes, and then at the moment you realize, oh shit, I'm already at the end of this movie, and I've seen this whole story, and you don't even realize how intricate it all is, right? But it's just so well woven, and he does such a great job of just pulling you into this world.
There's never a moment watching it where you wonder and start to look at something else and don't look at the screen.
Exactly.
And before you know it, it's over.
Well, and that's what
Yeah.
that's the thing is, I was too young when the movie came out. Like later on in life, that's why I appreciated it more. Was like I started noticing myself, like whenever it was on TNT or whatever, like all the time or whatever on network, I'd be like watching. I'm like, God, I got to buy this movie. So eventually, I just bought it, right? Because I was always catching it in the middle of the movie, and I just found myself sucked into it every time I'd watch it.
Well, put it in terms of a modern audience. How many people watched this movie and picked up their phone while they were watching it?
Probably none.
Yeah, you know, you're not going to pick up your phone and check Twitter or check you know, social media or anything, or who's on Facebook. It's like, or YouTube. I'm like, no, I got to finish this movie first. I'll go see what they're doing afterwards.
It has an energy. I think that's the word to use for it, because I feel like that's the best part to, like, because he carried that same energy over to Wolf of Wall Street, because that movie's even like longer than this, and it doesn't feel like it. Like you're tapped into that sucker from the moment you say go. And really, it's about some of the most boring shit in the world. I mean, this at least is interesting stuff to a point because it's crime and it's all that kind of business. But like, look at Wolf of Wall Street stacked up against this, and that's where it's like, okay, that's where Martin Scorsese is a great director. Anybody can make this story interesting, but the fact that you have a storyteller like Scorsese putting it together like that, it's masterful, right? Like he is truly one of the greatest. I can't express that enough. I know you're saying it. But.
Well, no, you're right though. I mean, it's a cliche point, but is it relevant? I'd say that's what the difference is. As cliche as maybe even beaten to death, one may say it is, but the thing is, it still rings true, no matter how many times it's repeated. It's relevant. So that's just how it is, man. When you're that type of a legendary name, you know, it's funny you mentioned because it was nominated for like 5 or 6 Academy Awards as far as the Academy Awards, but it only won one of them. Luckily, like it's one that, like, granted, award shows that not much spiel.
Shortest acceptance speeches in history. Joe Pesci come out and said, "It's my privilege, thank you," and walked off stage.
I like that.
It's my privilege, thank you. And I mean, for me personally, he takes the cake as far as my favorite overall character in the movie, but also like just some of the lines, like I love, like, it's just that moment, like his mom's like, you know, you're getting around these days. I sure, mom, but I settled down nice every night. Then I'm free the next morning. And he's like, you're my girl. Like, you're like, that's such a, like, you know, as crazy as these guys are, they're still mama's boys at the end of the day. Like, they'll freaking bust a door through someone's head, but for some reason, when it comes to mom, they still gotta be that good boy. It's funny how that happens, especially for his character. Oh, and of course there's the meme, the legendary
Yeah.
meme that
Oh,
has
God, yeah.
transcended
Yes.
time and fabric
Oh, yeah.
and space. Like, oh man,
Yeah, because when I first saw that meme, I'm like, I didn't really realize how much crazy faces he was making during that scene. So,
no, you don't think
and then when
about
you go,
it.
because it's you don't think about that when you freeze it or when I was clipping it too, then you see he's do that crazy hysterical laugh. It's like a Joker laugh almost. But yeah, that's one for the ages. Yeah.
Yes. Dustin, well, got a favorite quote or standout moment in the movie? One or the other, or both?
I think just the opening line. For as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
No, it's such a powerful line. I forgot to mention one from earlier. The one where you say, "Hey, he's all right. He's one of us." I don't know why. For some reason, there's something about that sank in. Like I was like, "Wow, such a simple like delivery," but it makes so much sense. You see, it kind of makes you realize that much more why these guys bond the way they do, even though he's one of the outsiders. He's still one of them just by the way they are around each other. They have that family feel, even though he is the half Irish standout in the family.
I kind of wonder though, when I watch the gangster movies like this one or whatever, do they have? People when they're getting involved with the mob, they have to get into it knowing they're not going to make it out alive, and they're not going to die of natural causes.
unless you're Meyer Lansky, then you live a long life and die in your bed of old age.
Very
Or
rare.
you're born
He's the
into
exception that proves that rule.
Well, that's funny you mentioned that about being born into it, because actually they changed the rules in 2000, I guess. And even by those new rules, though, neither Jimmy nor Henry would get in still, because it has to be blood descended on your father's side with an Italian last name. You could still be mixed blood after that, but yeah.
Where's the diversity?
I know. There's no
problematic.
diversity in
It's
this group at all.
problematic.
The Mafia is obviously politically incorrect.
I'm beginning to like these guys. I would
love to see you try and ask him one of that, but now we're back to this scene. I'm glad, because there's a bit of trivia to this. I guess this story actually happened to Joe Pesci when he was younger. For those who don't know, Joe Pesci has a very vast history that goes way beyond him becoming an actor in the
Jersey Boys.
80s. Like he was involved, with not just the
Four
music
Seasons.
scene back in the day, the Four Seasons. He actually had a lot of ties to the actual mob, and he was basically Spider at one time. And I guess he said to one of these guys that they were funny, and that scene basically played out, but only didn't end quite the way that it ended in the movie. Like Joe barely got out of there with his britches. Let's put it that way, because that guy scared the shit out of him. And he told this story to Scorsese, and I guess he wrote it into the movie. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, because you've got the ultimate power, right? If you're a mafia guy like that, and you're just a kid serving drinks, I mean, you can do whatever the fuck you want, right?
Yeah, because Joe worked in like serving drinks, and he used to work in like the barber shop and all that kind of stuff. So he knew all these guys.
Wow.
Not these
what are you gonna
specific
do?
guys, but like he knew these type of guys, right?
Yeah. So if you had a crazy
He
guy,
understood the
just wanted to go off,
environment.
Yeah.
That probably helped him make him even crazier for
Well,
his
he was
role.
close to getting. Depending on whose story you believe, he was close to getting in the mob himself.
It would have been
I
very
believe
easy.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's why
Steady.
De Niro's like, I can't believe you just shot him. It's like, what are you doing? I was just joking. Like, even De Niro didn't expect it. Although I wonder how surprised, Conway. I wonder how surprised he was when he actually did pull the trigger. But yeah, it was just. I think that was one of the best scenes.
But yeah, I guess Joe made an off the cuff remark to one of the guys that he was funny or whatever, and the guy just went off on him. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe it.
70s. What favorite quote moment in the movie? What would be something that what sticks out?
I'll tell you what mine is. It's when Tommy and Jimmy and Henry are digging Billy Bats up again after when they've got to go dig him up.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, Tommy says to Jimmy, what do you want, a leg or a wing? because the body's falling apart. And then Henry goes and pukes. And that sticks in my mind.
Dude, that's a good one.
Yeah, and he's like, my grandma, my mom cooked us a dinner. Come on, we got to get back home.
And then Henry's.
Well, and this is my last trivia bit, and then I'll shut up for a while because I know Dustin and Red Shirt really haven't got to talk as much and stuff like that. But basically, funnily enough, that this is like Scorsese's most beloved film, probably across the board. I think most people would agree. Like, this is most people's favorites.
I would.
This one tested the worst of all his movies.
What?
Warner Brothers panicked.
Wow.
Like, and they wanted him to recut it, but he held strong, and he's like, "Nope, I'm not touching it, not touching a bit." But I guess it tested poorly because they weren't prepared for how violent it was.
And if you think of it back to 1990, there probably hadn't been a movie that looked
This was
quite
pretty,
like this.
At the time. I mean, we had violent films, but not like this.
Not like this, no. Which is much more gritty.
I didn't clip those scenes because I wasn't sure about YouTube.
That's probably for the best.
Speaking of trivia, in the Copacabana there, it's supposed to be Bobby Vinton singing Blue Velvet. It's actually his son, his real life son, plays the part of Bobby Vinton.
Is it Robbie Vinton or was
Robbie Vinton? Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Right? Yeah. Oh, you were talking about the how they're walking through the back.
Yeah,
they had to film it 8 times.
Oh wow!
8 times.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
The other bit that's funny in there is when Pesci starts ragging on his girlfriend about liking Sammy Davis Jr. And of course, that becomes a recurring thing because he does it when Samuel L. Jackson's in the scene later, and he's looking at her going, "What are you looking at him for?" And he's very insensitive about the BIPOCs.
Of all things.
Want some candy, lady?
You say some candy, lady? I'm done. Anyways, deleted seats for $2.99 says, "Hail, Nick Weiser, Tom, Mad, Calzone, wherever he may be. Red Shirt 70s, Mark D, Brutal, Mods, and Chat. Do you think Goodfellas could be made the same way now? Is there anything you would change if you had to?" Well, personally, I wouldn't change a damn thing. And if it were to come out at best, I think it would be a very limited theatrical release, the same way The Irishman did. It would be a movie that would come out, but it would not get like front and center attention the way you would say like a Marvel or a Star Wars film nowadays. It would be like a sleeper hit, low budget, and only it would come up because of Martin Scorsese's high profile. And I mean, anyone want to object to that?
I don't think Hollywood could make this movie now, and I'm not calling Scorsese Hollywood, but it couldn't because the rules have changed. Now you look at the Many Saints of Newark. That film was only half about the Soprano.
Well,
story.
not just that. Look at the Irishman that he just made here.
Yeah.
Like he had to do that for Netflix because he could have never got that movie made by a studio.
The rules have changed both in terms of casting and other things, but also, as you say, in terms of the model that's released. They couldn't make this now. They wouldn't.
Well, part of it, he was picking on superhero movies, but I think part of that is there's a truth to that. As much as I love my comic book movies, but I was watching like the Sure Thing, which great John Cusack, Rob Reiner movie I've mentioned before on the show with my son and some friends from college. They couldn't stop laughing, but I'm like, telling them like, yeah, you'd never make a movie. This movie would never get made today. Maybe it would get on on Netflix, but everything has got to be a big, huge blockbuster for the most part now, which is a shame too, because a lot of these little films or niche film, would they've made this a Spinal Tap today? I mean,
it would get made, but it get buried, right?
Yeah, it would be a limited release. It would be a limited release, because you continue to give these movies, put them towards the back end, you make the resentment greater to people who I guess you could say specialize in these movies. You make the resentment greater, thinking, oh, so there's no place for movies like this, and obviously that's not true. I truly believe a movie like this could, let's just say it did come on the box office today, even in the world we live in, I feel like it truly would do gangbusters at the box office. R-rated movies can't. I don't know why they keep saying, oh, R-rated movies are done. No, they're not done. Joker just made all the money without China 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think R-rated movies are done, but I think this kind of movie, it would be ruined by the things if it was made in Hollywood. And I'm not. I mean, Europe maybe or Asia could make a movie as good as this about this, but if it was made in Hollywood, they would have too many rules that would restrict the content, and too many rules about who had to be in it and what the story had to be about and whether it was political. And I'm not sure they've got the writing talent now.
Well, I think
They had to do like
I really don't.
68 fucks that are in this movie.
Yeah, well,
I
so
really
just think
don't.
it's- You can't
I really
capture lightning in a bottle.
I really don't think they have the writing talent to do this movie
They
today.
don't. It would be about something else if it was made.
Well, I was
it
just
wouldn't
gonna
be
say,
about this.
I think to Nick's point was like, yeah, the Joker proved it. Like that's the only way you could get something like that made now is under the guise of
It's the
something
closest.
else.
Yep.
Right.
Under the guise of a big established, like obviously mainstream character. But even obviously, let's just say it was some original movie. It probably maybe made 150 mil, 200 mil, like domestically would do the 350 that Joker did. But that's still a good, successful R-rated release number. Like, I mean, you can't complain, especially with the low budget. This is even lower budget than like it was Joker, like 50 million. This is probably like 6-7 million.
I think the
So,
budget
yeah,
on this was estimated at 25 million.
25.
Wow.
Okay, so
I thought,
25
it was
million.
I thought it was only about 7 million it was made for. But I might be wrong. But
This movie
Probably wrong.
would be
I'm probably wrong.
super profitable. Yeah, sure, there would be a lot of
oh
flack.
no, yeah,
There'd be a
it
lot
was
of
more. Sorry, 25
According to
is
the
probably
Google,
right.
yeah.
25 is about right. Yeah,
But I can see that with a lot
Sorry
of
about
the period
that.
stuff, considering they cover 35 years basically.
25 with the talent.
But
in
I
it
kind of
makes more
figured
sense.
too, like these kind of movies.
Is it
Is there
25?
is there an appetite for this type of movie now?
I think
I
there
would
is.
see one. Like, granted, I know I'm one guy, but I would totally see one today.
It would be something
yeah.
that would go straight to Netflix though.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
here's a comparison. I mentioned this to you, Nick Weiser, but Donnie Brasco is something very similar. It's another true story. It just happens to be about an undercover FBI agent, not a guy who grew up to be part of the mob. But I don't think that could be made today, and I don't know what that did compared to this. And that was a spectacularly well done movie. Be an interesting comparison to take the box office of Donnie Brasco and compare it to this, because it was done very well. And it's
I don't
probably one
have
of
the
the
numbers in front of me, but I think it was a bigger hit on video. But you could be right; it might have. With Johnny Depp and Al Pacino, it could have done a bit better. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of Johnny Depp's best portrayals, other than maybe Black Mass or Fear and Loathing in Las
He
Vegas.
was pretty good as Whitey Bulger as well, wasn't he? I mean,
That's
he was-
Black Mass. That's
Yeah, Black
that's,
Mass,
that's
sorry,
Black
yeah,
Mass.
yeah.
Yeah. No, he was amazing. No, he was scary in that. Because I lived in the Boston area when Whitey Bulger was reigning supreme in South Boston, and watching Johnny Depp in that movie was hair raising.
Well,
don't have
Donnie
much.
Brasco did 124.9 million, so 125 million, and that was made what? In 97, so
97.
7 years later. Yeah.
Budget of 35 million according to IMDb for Donnie Brasco. So I don't. We're actually missing a certain point here, perhaps, in that it's this very show that we're on. It's called Toxic Tuesdays. Would a movie as toxic as this and problematic in today's language be made? Because it
That's
is
why I brought
toxic.
up Joker. Yeah, it's the only way
It
you
is
can.
toxic
Really.
and it is problematic. It's got a lot of problematic people doing problematic things. So
Oh, very problematic things. Red Shirt. What was your, I guess, highlight of the movie?
My highlight of the movie, and I do like some of those quotes at the beginning, but the one that always sticks with me and that I never forgotten is, now the guy's got Paulie as a partner. Any problems? He goes to Paulie. Trouble with the bill? He can go to Paulie. Trouble with the cops, deliveries, Tommy? He can call Paulie. But now the guy's got to come up with Paulie's money every week, no matter what. Business bad? Fuck you, pay me. Oh, you had a fire? Fuck you, pay me. Place got hit by lightning? Huh? Fuck you, pay me. That absolutely, when I first heard it, was like, oh my God, does that encapsulate this movie? That is the Mafia. There's like, oh yeah, we're your best friend. We'll solve all your problems. Fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. That you just summed up the Mafia in a nutshell. For real, that's exactly it. Red Shirt.
Very well done as well, by the way.
Oh, hi, man.
Hey,
You're
yeah,
hired.
like
hired.
sorry I'm late. We're just gonna ignore that I just got here. Sorry, I had to take my uncle home.
Yeah, we're gonna completely ignore that you just got here.
Yeah. I had to take him back to the home.
Have you always known your uncle was gay and a drag queen?
And he has a big old calzone.
Hey,
Roll-
listen,
folded
Matty
pizza?
Calzone is a hero to some people. He tells me.
He tells you. Of course he's gonna tell you that. What?
Bill Bruce.
Oh, how Rob Altus, right? Not much different from the government.
Just the only other thing I'd like to say about this movie is just, again, with Scorsese, fantastic use of music. The way he uses that soundtrack of tracks towards the end to build up the tension. You get Cream, you get that fantastic bit at the end of not Cream, with Derek and the Dominoes, the piano
The
bit.
last
Layla.
part of Layla, yeah.
Yeah, you got Monkey Man by the Stones, one of their most underrated tracks. He's got that right in there. It just builds that tension beautifully. It's fantastic.
Funnily enough, he
sequence.
wanted to use the Frank Sinatra version of My Way, but Frank wouldn't sign it over, so that's
Yeah,
why I
what a
used the
surprise.
other
Oh,
one.
that's why you had the different version. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, great soundtrack. Brilliant soundtrack.
So, Mr. Tom, you haven't had your time under the sun to tell about the moment, or you want to lay out too.
I kind of
We're
did
the ones-
already. I'm going to concede some of my time to Red Shirt and Dustin and stuff like that, because like the rest of us have kind of dominated the combo. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know. Red Shirt just had his. Dustin, did you want to add anything before, unless I get to Mart again?
Oh, I mean that quote that we were just talking about, that whole idea that, like, we're your best friend until, well, pay us.
Fuck you, pay me. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that, like, I always forget about that quote. Then I hear it every time I watch it, and I'm just like, it's like the Mafia is. It's like you want to be in the Mafia until you realize what it is, and then you don't want to be in the Mafia anymore.
Right. And then once you're in there, it's telling you with the gang, like, getting out is an absolute, like, hell to get out.
There's no getting out.
Yeah, there is no getting out. Once you're in, you're in. And then if you get out, you basically, it's like you die. Like,
Yeah, you get out by going to the morgue.
Yeah, no, agree.
They had a retirement plan.
You retired to Boca.
All right, Mad. Why don't you get to tell us about your highlight of the movie? I'm sure it's involving something toxic. It's got
Gay sex in prison.
No, what? What? No. Listen, I my highlight is the soundtrack, the music. Martin Scorsese. It's really hard not to say Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese. His use of music in his films is just on another level. You know what I mean? Whether it's Departed or any of his other, like, it's just pitch perfect. And it's very memorable. You know what I mean? Like, it really sticks with you. Like, when you hear Rags to Riches, you automatically think, I always knew I wanted to be a gangster. You know what I mean? Like, and you can start into that monologue. And so definitely the highlight would be the music.
I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm agreeing with Mad. Every single song that's in this movie reminds me of this movie when I hear it.
Yeah. It's the same thing like with the music you use in Departed as well. You know, you had it takes place in Boston, so you have to have Dropkick Murphys. And who the hell doesn't love shipping up to Boston? What a great fucking song, and it worked perfectly in that movie. And the way he just, God, no, we're not talking about Departed, but just the way, like, it stops immediately in that next scene after the montage of his prison, like This actually goes back to the thing, like, there's not a lot of good, like, soundtracks anymore, like what you had in the 90s. Biodome, Power Rangers, Boomerang, all these movies in the 90s had these amazing soundtracks, and now all we get is Zimmer going brong, in every fucking
soundtrack.
Quit making people agree with you tonight.
Well, the other thing is he
Judgment Night
doesn't
soundtrack too.
He doesn't just chuck a bunch of songs in there like a lot of movies. Oh, let's have 10 songs from the charts in our movies.
Right?
He
Guardians
fits
of the
them-
Galaxy.
Yeah, he fits them in where they're appropriate, and it uses it to build up something, tension or whatever,
Oh, that movie with the Devella Cavill or whatever the fuck her name is from, like 101
Smelly to what? So,
101 Dalmatians, like that movie that they did with that redhead. I guess is Hawaiian. I don't remember, but I think she played a Hawaiian person. Anyway, but like they just have songs in there that have songs in there. But like, it's the 70s. We have a song from the 70s, and now another one, and 4 more in a single scene. Like such garbage use of music.
Yep. Can't believe it. You said something sensible, man.
I remember
does it once in a great fucking while, but he's been doing it tonight. Like
I know he's
all night long.
What's wrong with him?
All right, Dustin.
I don't know. I think it's a lack of
saying?
alcohol.
I was just saying, like they're talking about the like soundtracks. Because in the '90s and shit, I would buy soundtracks.
Yeah.
Oh, I still do, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't buy. I mean, I don't. To me, like these days, it's not the same.
I don't buy a lot of new music, I should say.
Okay.
It's usually classic soundtracks for the most part.
Okay,
but yeah, soundtracks were a big deal, though.
You connect to those soundtracks from
oh yeah, I
yesteryear,
got this
though, Tom.
soundtrack definitely.
Killer. No, I agree, and that was at a time where there was a lot of promotion of the music. You know, with the movie, there are even some songs there that are made for a movie. Like obviously, there were some bad ones, like Wild Wild West. But like it just shows you.
Wow, wicka wow.
I'm just trying to get at is that like how important music was back then to the movie is all I'm emphasizing. Back then,
Wild Wild West was awesome. Now let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West. That's not it. That was a good song.
Men in Black was better, way better.
Men in Black was much better. Oh, I remember the original Wild Wild West. It was stupid in the '60s.
The best movie song ever was LL Cool J's "Deeper Bluer." Like what was it? Deeper Blue. Like you remember, my hat is like a shark fin. Deeper Bluer.
Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, that's
you know
the best
what,
movie song.
D. Bud Martin. That's a great idea. I ought to buy some soundtracks and maybe play some music for him.
Good idea.
Radio.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Maybe you could have a co-host and like do old radio bits.
No, man.
Like Tom and Matt in the morning.
Is calzone available for hire?
Yeah.
No, man. No, that shit's too hot to wear.
Yeah.
Only if you want.
That's
Sorry,
untouchable, like Elliot Ness. No, there'll definitely be more Mafia movies done.
No, I wish I could bring more people on, but it's not as easy as you think. I tried one time with Culture, and it was a nightmare.
Well, that's because it's culture. Like it's going to echo every time he talks. It's echo.
You're on OBS, right, Tom?
Yeah, going through OBS is not the easiest. So the other person can't hear the music.
Yeah, it's not
not without feeding it back through, and it's like
it's a pain. OBS, yeah. I figured out a way to get it to work, but it was so hard to get the guests to
and StreamYard was bogging down OBS.
It's good for signal. Yeah, just one person. It's great, but
well, unless you go through Discord, but then again, you can't play music though. That's a pain.
Tom's invincible.
They're
like anything.
Well, they're like shooting stars, right? Like I get away for about 2 hours, and then they get pulled down within the next couple hours. So
yeah,
wow.
But you never get a copyright claim though. They
claim the shit out of them.
Well, they claim, or I mean, a strike.
Oh yeah. No, never get a strike. No,
because they just pull and they just kill.
I've gotten other strikes, but that's because of people flagging it and shit. But that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Mart again.
Those usually get dropped.
Where do you rank this movie in the pantheon of Mafia and in toxicity?
Oh, well, listen, I still think The Godfather, and by the way, I like The Godfather more than the sequel. I really do. I don't know why, because Godfather 2 never really could grab my attention like the first one did. The first one is just magnificent. I think it gets overlooked because of how much love people have for the second one. Mm-hmm. But I think man, I can't think of anything I can't think of anything that would really top this as far as actual Mafia. And I know my uncle was talking about like the influence that the guy who wrote those, by the way, he wrote them because he owed money to people. He had to write the Godfather book or whatever. And it really did influence a lot of what the Mafia, the way they acted and did like that. But like, Mafia movies, man, this is it, dude. It's The Godfather and then this. Everything else is just cheap carbon copies of what this was.
I mean, I agree with you to a point. Like Mad was the whole like Godfather really glamorized it big time, and I'm sure it influenced that latter generation, and I'm sure a lot of it was bullshit. But I think The Godfather did a great job of capturing the whole family aspect of it,
right?
As to where this captured the whole gritty, realistic. Like this is, you saw all this stuff in The Godfather. And Godfather showed you some of the bad sides of it. Now this is going to actually show you what it's really, really, really like. And I think we touched on that earlier too. But yeah.
We did. No, we did. All right, man. Cool. And how about in toxicity? Do you find this, or is this gonna be a 0 out of 10?
Listen, the women are the most toxic part of this movie.
Yes,
They are
that's right.
horrible. They
That's
get them
right.
hooked on drugs. They don't know how to act in public. They have horrible like makeup and
They're all
their-
enablers. He's right.
yeah, their taste in the way they decorate their houses is just absurd, even for the the 80s and 90s. Like, oh, it wasn't ever that bad. You know what I mean? Casino, yeah, that would come in like after
Midnight. I think I'm down with that. May is Mafia month. I like that. I don't know why there's a
Ooh.
connection, but hey, I think I can deal with that.
I like it. Dig. All right. Go. Carry on, Matt. Anything else?
Sorry, man.
He doesn't care
Wait,
anymore.
huh? What? Yeah, May Mafia. Yeah. So, let's see. On a 1 to 10 I mean, I give it a 0. Obviously. Well, no. You know what? Actually, normally that's what I give. I'm gonna give it a 1 because of
blowjob in this scene.
the garbage women. Look at him. Well, he's trying to get to work to earn money to take care of his family, and she's like, no. My needs come first. Ugh, women.
She's got to go shopping, huh, Ed?
Well, at least she worked for the money.
Oh, she worked for the money.
She worked hard for
the money.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I was waiting for somebody to pick up on that.
I was too. Dustin, where do you rank this in the ranks?
Oh,
Oh, it's a 9.7 on the normal scale.
normal scale's a 9.7. You say?
Okay.
Then I got to give it a 9.8.
Wow.
How is this not a 10 out of 10, guys? I mean,
can any movie be 10 out of 10?
in this case, with
Top Gun,
Goodfellas, yes.
There's got to be one, at least.
I think. This movie actually has a lot of toxicity in it. I think there's so much going on, and I do blame all the women. And they're just like they're so annoying, and I'd want to go to prison too.
I agree, man. We need more men in our lives.
It's true.
Did Matt just pay off Dustin tonight?
What has he got on you, Dustin? What has he got?
He's still waiting on. He's still waiting on my uncle Matty Calzone to come home to him. He went out for cigarettes.
I think I just saw some
He left for
hundreds
cigarettes
change
and
hands
milk and
there
never
behind
came
the
back.
scenes there.
Yeah.
Oh, D-Bud here. Ryan takes lessons from Matt. Oh.
That's not the first time I heard this whole Ryan thing. I'm gonna be honest. I've met Ryan a couple of times. He seems nice. I do not watch any of his content, so I don't know what it is that I do that reminds people of Ryan, because I don't. You know what I mean? I don't. And the few times I've been on, he's been a gem. Real nice guy.
He's a gem. I love it. Anything else you want to add, Dustin?
I'm good, man. I don't know how many handy Randys are in this, but I know there's probably a few.
I'm sure somewhere in there there's a big old handy that's waiting for a reach around from Drew. Shout out to the Supreme Heretic, by the way. So yeah, all right.
Maybe we should have rated it in headshots, because boy, they love headshots. That Martin kills Casey. Headshots
Mark.
with a gun. Yeah.
Mark, give us
Thank
your
you, thank
ranks.
Well, thankfully, the car alarm that was going off, I think someone was heisting a car next door. I don't know if you could hear that, but hopefully it won't keep going on. But yeah, ranks, I guess 9.8 on this movie. It's just all-time classic movie. You watch it, you're never bored. Every scene is awesome. Actors are awesome. Love the story. Love the whole character arc. It's the rise and fall of these guys, and just so well done. The food is awesome in the movie. The grandmother's awesome. Reminds me of all my relatives. Yep. So you got to eat your pasta at midnight, and if you don't eat enough, then then they look down at you.
Then you eat more. You eat more.
Yeah, you got to. If you're the guy that didn't eat enough, then then you're really persona non grata if you didn't. But and toxic. I don't know. This is like a 9 in toxicity. All the guys are toxic. They do whatever the fuck they want. If you're slow bringing a guy a drink, you get shot. Who else could do that, right? I mean, make the guy dance, and he's he's a whiner. He's just making it up, you know. He shot him in the foot. It was just an accident. It wasn't my fault, you know. So you know, what could get more toxic than that? I mean,
bring Sam back up, because that really deserves like some recognition. That is a fucking great hashtag.
Watch, and I got this. I got to show this this photo here. We got this to work here. Let me grab this and show you guys real quick here. There we go. There's Nick in the painting.
Oh, is that the one I sent? Did I send that to you?
Well, I just got it to work in one of the programs I have. So yeah, I don't know if so this is what I think you were looking for, right?
Right. Well, I did that too with Reface or whatever, but I was gonna do a whole thing. I even was gonna try to hand paint it myself because my girlfriend has like some paint stuff, but I just ran out of time, dude. Nick, I really was gonna do it for you. It was gonna be ugly as shit.
Yeah, this makes you look really good. So
yeah,
what do you want from it?
I had a whole bit. I was gonna be like, hey, I may not be the Van Gogh, but I could at least invade Poland. You know what I mean? Like as a Hitler joke.
Maybe we could print this and frame it for Nick, right, and send it to him.
There you go.
I was gonna add his hat. I was gonna paint on his black hat that's flipped up and stuff.
Yep.
Why doesn't he look like Andy Serkis?
Oh damn it!
So this movie's all-time classic. I mean, I'm assuming everyone here in the chat has seen it, and thanks for all the great comments. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, if you haven't, go watch this, and you can't go wrong with this movie. And then go to a good Italian restaurant after. Don't go to an Olive Garden, please.
Buca de Beppo.
But your family there.
Yeah, your
family don't charge you for no breadsticks.
My great grandmother's rolling over her grave in an Olive Garden counts as Chinese, as Italian food. Yeah, but it's go get some good calzones and some good
Olive
Italian
Garden,
food.
more expensive fazoli's.
Get some panettone. Get some panettone for that.
And you got to finish up with some cannoli. I had a friend who lived in Arizona. This was years ago before that, now they have much better restaurants and food. This was in the 80s. And he's like, first thing he did, he came back and he went to Da Vinci's Italian restaurant in our town. He's like, I'd like 12 cannolis, and three pizzas, to go. He's like, you don't realize how long it's been. He was in the Navy. He's like, since I've had good Italian food. So
well, it's like the end of the movie. I ordered spaghetti and I got egg noodles with ketchup.
Yep. That was exactly what I was thinking of my buddy when he was going to get his Italian food. Yep.
All right, killer. Anything else, Mark?
Nope. Thank you. Thanks. It's been fun as usual. Yep.
Yeah. No. Thank you. Mr. Red Shirt, give out your scores.
If this movie's not a 10 out of 10, I don't know what is, because I can't imagine this movie being any better. So I'm going to give it a 10. And on a toxicity scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this movie an 11.
Woo! Hot, toxic. Love it. Any specifics as to why you give it the toxicity?
The toxicity, well, one, that there is nobody in here that isn't toxic. Everybody is. The guys are. They're horrible people. This, that, the other thing. The women are, my God, dude. My idea of hell is being at that coffee clutch. That horrible party in the house where she's sitting there staring off into space going, I don't believe these women. And they're all sitting there. One of them's got the cold sore on her lip and the other one's got her hair is about to, the size of they're
like the Real Housewives of New Jersey, basically.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'm like, no, I don't want to be there. So yeah, no, everything about this movie is toxic. It's absolutely perfect in that regard.
Fun fact: the Pope actually gave absolution for the mob because their women were so ugly. They had
on a pizza.
That's funny.
All right, Nelson the gentleman for $1 says nothing is more toxic than Skittles. What a shite candy. He must be from another country. Thank you, Nelson the gentleman.
Taste
I don't know if I
rainbow.
agree with that. Yeah, Skittles are okay.
Skittles.
Anything else you want to add to it, Red Shirt, or no?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I'll just say, this is one of my all-time favorite movies. I really love this movie.
Killer. Awesome. Well, Mr. Tom, why don't you
I
do
gotta
your
echo that
ratings?
pretty much. I mean, it's 11 out of 10. It's one of the best movies ever made. It's a perfect film. As far as the toxicity, I agree across the board. All the women in this movie are either living with cognitive dissonance or they're enablers themselves, and the men are just extremely toxic old school men. And yeah, I mean, like we brought up before, you probably wouldn't be able to make this movie nowadays, or at least it wouldn't get the attention now it would have then. But yeah, I mean, it's just a great fucking flick. I mean, what else can I say about it? 10 out of 10. It gets 500 handy randies.
Only 500?
Is there a higher number I can give it?
I mean, handies across the nation.
Infinity handy number?
Yeah.
Handy randy?
There's a
An
infinity
gauntlet
handy
that fits the handy randy hand.
It's a baby gauntlet. Oh god, now we're gonna have to that. A tiny little gauntlet. But damn it, I was gonna say something that was important.
That was so adorable.
Man, it was important. Oh, wait. I was watching this. So I watched this like a couple days ago or whatever. And when they started talking about Sammy Davis, I'm like, oh, they could not put this in a movie today. Like, you know what scene I'm talking about when they're at the club?
Yeah, as we mentioned it earlier. Pesci's getting upset about his girlfriend liking Sammy Davis Jr.
They're like, he's talented, but he's talented, but
No, I'm just saying, like, you can see why white girls would like him. That's all I'm saying.
But yeah, the line I want to know who I'm kissing, that would not fly.
No.
Tom, did you have anything else, or
no? Like I said, you guys already kind of hit it all on the head. I mean, what else can I say about it?
All right, killer, awesome. Well, thank you, sir. 70s, you've been waiting ever so patiently.
So first of all, I'm going to the only thing this movie didn't have was a machine gun in a violin case, because it had everything else. I'll give it 0 calzones out of 10, which is a good thing.
It doesn't feel like it. It feels like a shot at my uncle.
So I'll give it 0 calzones out of 10. I will give it a 10 out of 10 for toxicity, and that's a good thing. And I find it difficult to give it a high enough normal rating. It's 10. It's a solid 100% 10. That's the VIG. It's a 10. And it's one of the greatest movies ever made.
So 70s, I have a question for you. So, you talked about like this being like an example of like American gangster. What about like, what was like growing up like for you, like with like the English gangster stuff? Because we see that now, but was that ever a thing for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of movies about, and it was mainly centered around London, I have to say, the gangsters. There's a famous one called Brighton Rock with Richard Attenborough in the lead. And then later on in the 70s, you had movies like Get Carter with Michael Caine, which were about basically British gangsters. You've had obviously Cray Twins related stuff over the years. So there was a whole scene. And then, of course, you get into the Snatch era. And
oh, hell yeah. I love Guy Ritchie.
So
Snatch, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels.
So you get a lot of that stuff in the 2000s and onwards.
Yeah. Tom Hardy and Bronson was good too, by the way.
But even back in the 40s, you'd have like Brighton Rock is a classic if you've never seen it. Black and white movie, Richard Attenborough's first major lead as an actor, and he plays this little frickin' Weasley gangster in it. It's a very Jimmy Cagney thing, but yeah, there's a whole substrata of British gangster movies.
What about the Lady
Green Street
Killers?
Hooligans? Green Street Hooligans with Elijah Wood is pretty good too. But that's like soccer hooligans. So football hooligans.
Association football.
Anything else you got, 70s rock fan?
No, I just had to say one of the greatest movies ever made. And Dustin, you've given me an idea for a couple of streams, so thank you. British gangster movies.
All right.
You're welcome.
Well,
thanks, mate.
I'm going to have to go with a 12 out of 10 on the toxicity. I mean, everyone is batshit fucking insane. This movie. I mean, it's like everyone just lost their minds from the time you see Henry and Tony as teenagers, and for the rest of the movie on, it's just endless. These people are just rock star lifestyles 24/7. Like, even when they're supposed to be like parents at home, they're still being rock stars. Like, it's just nonstop, and it's a rise and fall story. Like, the idea of it is very conventional, but its execution makes up for it in absolute spades. So because of that, it's going to get the 10 out of 10. I would give it a 10.1, but we'll still settle for a 10.0 on that, on as far as the movie rating and the toxicity being a 12. And this gets so many reach arounds from the Drew's huge dong of the handy Randys. Like, this is ultimate handies and then some. Like, I could see all the hands gathering around for this one. So yeah.
Can I just add one thing? Sorry, because it just hit me when they're in the car together, and she goes like, I mean, this 21-year-old gets in all the clubs. I'm like, oh, he's supposed to be 21. He looks 40. Like,
oh, indeed, yeah.
I
love, God, that's
and this is something that Scorsese does a lot. Like, he don't give a shit if he tells you he's 21. He's fucking 21. You're just gonna have to get over it. He does it in all of his movies, right?
Just wanted to show you this poster of Brighton Rock, and if you'll notice the third name on the cast list.
Doctor Who's that?
Doctor Who, William Hartnell, the first Doctor Who.
Nerds.
Because he used to play heavies. He would play hard men or army sergeants or gangsters before that. But anyway, it's a great movie if you ever see it. Obviously black and white, a little bit dated now, made in 1948, but it's classic British gangster movie.
Ooh, yeah. We'll have to one day maybe we'll have to dedicate a month to some of these old school ones.
Indeed.
Yeah, awesome. Well, those are my scores. I just want to say thank you to the chat. Thank you to those who came back. Thank you for the Mead raid. Those who are new to the channel, thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed, and to the regulars as well. I appreciate you. Tom, thank you for coming on. Red shirt. I'm glad to have you guys. You're basically your always extended family of the Toxic Tuesday family. I appreciate it. And to my regular 70s, Dustin, Mad, Mark, guys, this has been a fun one. And next week we're gonna go back in time a little. There's this crazy guy named Mel Gibson. He once went by this alias called Mad Max. So next week, Toxic Tuesday, we're gonna do Mad Max. It's gonna be an absolute blast.
Can I got a confession to make. I've never seen Mad Max.
Oh, I'm down.
You're in for a treat.
Conceivable.
He's more of a Thunderdome man, I guess.
Yes.
Never seen that one either. I've never seen any. The only Mad Max I know is that garbage one where they replaced him with a chick.
Yeah, well, you got some homework.
Oh
to
no!
do,
Watch the originals. Yeah.
So yeah, next week.
Next
week's Toxic Tuesday is gonna be Mad Max. Not that other one.
You're talking because Matt, which one? I mean, the import
Fury
from Australia, or the second? You know, because the one that was popular here first was the second one. So, just want to get our Mad Maxes straight.
That was the Road Warrior, the second one, right?
The second one, right?
Yeah.
So the first one or the second one?
The first one. We're starting with the first.
We'll actually do the second one because that's the one that got the attention.
Oh, I like the first
Road
one.
Warrior.
Road Warrior.
We cleared that up
because I'm good.
I'm confused as shit now. What are we watching?
Because the Road Warrior was became really popular. I don't think Mad Max ever played here, and then Mad Max, years later you can get on VHS or watch it here. But it was actually the Road Warrior that was what broke the series open in the States.
Okay, so I'm watching the Road Warrior.
If you watch the first Mad Max, it's like nothing like the Road Warrior.
Yeah,
right.
More of a dystopian thing than it is an action movie. Yeah.
It's got women in it too, Mad. You wouldn't like it.
Oh God! Yeah, skip it.
All
Bare
right,
breast, Mad.
Mark, go ahead.
It better be attached to a man.
Plug your channel.
Yeah. So thank you for having me on. It's been an awesome time hanging out with everyone here, even with Mr. Calzone. Check out my channel. I do reviews of toys and pop culture. I'm on Thursday night on Cloudbeast Clubhouse with Cloudburn Times channel, and Sunday night I got a late night show. Some of you guys have been on there, so it's an open show talking all things geek. And I just got this sweet Enterprise, so I got to do a review of this guy here, so you can see some of the toys in the house. That's the Playmobil Enterprise that my wife wasn't too happy about and said, "Don't ever take that out of the office." You know, they show it on the video. You can put it on the coffee table. It's got a nice stand, but yeah, she said, yeah, that's not happening. So I'm gonna be reviewing that soon. But yeah, it's been fun, and sub to everyone on this panel. They're all awesome guys. So really appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's up to and including you. Sub to Mark D with a C, guys. Check him out. He's a great time. He also has a great Sunday night geekery, might I add to that. That is very fun. Good time. Good old chill stream to hang out on. So, Mark, thank you as always for your services, for getting all the clips for, you know, all the foes. I appreciate your endless service.
You're welcome.
When we meet, that pizza's on me, man. That pizza's on me. That's the least I can do for you.
That'll be a fun time. Yep.
Just another red shirt, one of the mod kings, sir. What I obviously I know you don't do a channel, but just say whatever your final words are.
My final words are thank you so much for letting me come on your channel and talk about one of my all-time favorite movies. You can find me on chats all over, in quite a few chats on YouTube. If you see me in the chat, say hello. I'll try and do my best to say hi back. Take care.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you. I'm happy you reached out. So, and as you know, once again, like I said earlier, you're basically extended Toxic Tuesday family. There's some that just like, okay, I need to talk about that one. You know how to reach me. 70s.
Hey,
Plug your channel.
Thanks, buddy, for having me on yet again. Another fantastic episode. Well done, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to this wonderful panel. Everybody go check them out, subscribe to them. And thank you to the chat, the greatest chat on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So excellent. Yeah, I do have my wonderful little channel. I'm just about up to 250 subs now, so things are going well. Done a couple of great streams recently with our buddy Tom there on the Beatles. Get back, planning a few more music-related live streams coming soon. Done a little bit of live gaming. Got some videos about science fiction books going up, and I've got another underlooked bands video that I've been sweating over for the last 2 or 3 days editing for a Scottish band called Teenage Fan Club, who I dearly love, and I'm putting together a really nice video on those guys. So that'll be coming soon.
Nice, dude. Looking forward to it, and thank you for coming on, man. And I look forward to many more Toxic Tuesdays.
Thanks, buddy.
Mad Mardigan.
Yeah, hey, sorry I was running late. No big deal. Let's see what we got going on. We got Street Smarts tomorrow. I don't know if you ever heard of this show. My uncle's supposed to talk about it. Street Smarts will be tomorrow at like 3 p.m. Central. I got the Mad and Culture do it live together on a stream on Wednesday after that. The Dump, and then I do speakeasies, like late night streams every once in a while. The last one we got way too drunk when we did it. It got out of hand. And some clips will be coming out with all that, with what happened on there. I don't know. Just love Jesus, I guess.
All right, killer. Oh, well, Mad, it's been awesome.
Or Buddha, or whoever. You know, I'm not gonna limit you to the G's. Like that's my friend, but you know, you can have your own.
Yeah, well, thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. It's been real. And
I'm so glad I could have been here. By the way, I was expecting a little bit more because, like, you're like, oh, Mark, like you do so much. The pizza's on me, bud. And then I come up, you're like, what do you got? That's cool because I don't put any effort in.
But that's apparent.
Wow.
Ouch.
From you, I expected from Tom and the rest of these assholes, but my God, I think you're getting too familiar. That's the problem. You're getting too comfortable with me.
There's gonna be a hit tonight.
Oh,
all right, Dustin, you know what to do.
I've got my Keto Simple channel, food reviews, keto lifestyle videos. I actually do have a second channel now. It is a podcast that I started with my friend Abby. We have 3 episodes up. They're long. It's called Death of Nuance. You can find that on YouTube as well. On the Keto Simple side, I've hit over 1,100 subscribers. Thanks in no small part to being friends with all you guys. And now I just got to work on getting the watch hours up. And I know that Nick has hit that 4,000 mark.
Woo! I did. But talk about you. What about me last? Shut up.
I love you, Nick.
I love you.
But
That
yeah,
was a fake beard.
fake. Anyway,
I could have done. My uncle could have done the same thing. That doesn't prove anything.
true.
Mad, if you ate right, you could have a beard like that too.
My face was burnt, asshole. Thanks for bringing up that horrible memory. And you're taking up his time.
That explains a lot, actually. Now you mention it.
Well,
Anything
that's,
else, Dustin?
That's it for me, man. That new channel and episodes on that go up about every 2 weeks. So it's not a hard hitting channel, but they're long, so it'll take you a long time to get through them.
All right, killer, dude. Thank you as always, and I look forward to Mad Maxon next week. And last but not least, well,
Definitely least.
he's everywhere and everywhere.
I'm like underwear.
Damn it, Tom.
Boxers or briefs?
What, you spend all day rubbing up against genitals?
Both and commando all at the same time.
That's all he's got. He's promoting underwear. Awesome, Tom. Well, thank you and your underwear
I
for
just
coming
love
on.
being here, hanging out with you, toxic gentlemen.
Oh, as always, man. I mean, thank you for the plugs earlier on Mead. I appreciate that. Absolutely awesome. And like I said, Red Shirt, you're basically extended toxic family. So the door's always open. So
I gravitate towards toxicity. So
I see.
I find that hard to believe because you rarely had me on. By the way, thanks for having me on today.
Says this after I've had him on like 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Tom. You have a magical Mead Radio evening. I'm assuming you're going to radio.
I did it this morning. We'll see. Maybe.
Oh, last thing. Sorry. Yeti Cass and I'm going to give him a plug because he has the vid. So he's like, oh, I'm so sick. Anyway, we've been playing that game A Way Out, like where we bust out of prison. It's hilarious because we suck at games anyways. But like we were torturing this guy. It's in the game to Stuck in the Middle with you, like in Reservoir Dogs. So much fun, man. If you get a chance to go check out those streams. Like I know I hate watching other people play video games, but unlike most people on Twitch, we're actually entertaining as we do it. So check that out.
You guys are good to watch, right? Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Killer. Well, human beings, we'll see you all next week when we Mad Max out for Mad Max. Have a good night.